Chapter 674. Shangguan Furong apologizes at the doorway _6. In other words, she had enough confidence in herself. She didn't believe Zhaoshen would dare betray her. Okay. I'll go now. Zhaoshen rushed into the room, hoping to have coffee ready by the time Shangguan Furong sat on the sofa. Seeing Shangguan Furong's return, Grandma Zhao tactfully left the living room. Although Enai Tsuehua wasn't planning to get married to Shangguan Dehui for now, they couldn't keep dragging things on. So Grandma Shangguan spoke with Enai Chengui to set up an engagement and make it public. Enai Tsuehua had no objections to this. In China in the 1980s, getting engaged was also known as setting the commitment. Setting the commitment wasn't as formal as it would be in later years. All it required was a matchmaker and inviting family from both sides for a shared meal. However, during the engagement, the wedding date needed to be agreed upon. When Shangguan Furong heard about Shangguan Dehui's engagement to Enai Tsuehua, she was livid. They had even set the date for the engagement without notifying her. Did they even consider her anymore? Source Web Novel. Com. Updated on Omicron New 0. Shangguan Furong, angry, went to find Grandma Shangguan. Grandma Shangguan said, "How can you expect others to respect you if you don't respect yourself?" "Mother, am I still your daughter?" Shangguan Furong confronted Grandma Shangguan. Grandma Shangguan responded, "I should be the one asking you that. Do you even see me as your mother? You're making a scene for no reason." Continuing, Grandma Shangguan said, "Also, you owe Yang an apology for what happened last time." "What?" Shangguan Furong couldn't help but exclaim sharply. "You want me to apologize to her? Why should I apologize to her? Enai Yang was nothing more than an individual trader, and she was the younger generation." Shangguan Furong almost thought she was hallucinating. Apologizing. Grandma Shangguan was actually asking her to apologize. "You messed things up so badly. Asking you to apologize is the least of it." Grandma Shangguan continued, "I'm telling you today, if you continue to insist on your views, with no remorse, then I won't acknowledge you as my daughter anymore. Leaves that to your own discretion." This time, Grandma Shangguan wouldn't indulge Shangguan Furong any longer. "Mother, do you realize what you're saying? Rest assured, even when I'm asleep, I'm more clear-headed than you." Grandma Shangguan continued, "By the way, until you agree to apologize, please don't call me mother. I don't have a daughter like you." Grandma Shangguan kept a stern face, showing no signs of joking. Shangguan Furong never thought that Grandma Shangguan would sever ties with her own daughter for a bunch of outsiders. The room fell silent for a moment. After a while, Shangguan Furong looked up at Grandma Shangguan and said, word by word, "Fine, I am willing to apologize." "You're certain?" Grandma Shangguan raised her eyebrows to look at her. Yes, Shangguan Furong was no fool. She knew she could not lose the support of the Shangguan family. If Grandma Shangguan were to truly not acknowledge her as a daughter, it would bring her no benefits. So be it. She'll apologize. She will find plenty of ways to deal with that little brat Enai Yang in the future. The depths of Shangguan Furong's eyes held nothing but hatred. Upon hearing her response, Grandma Shangguan stood up from the couch. "Since you've thought it through, come with me." Shangguan Furong followed in Grandma Shangguan's footsteps. Soon, the two of them arrived at the Enai family's residence. Grandma Shangguan led Shangguan Furong to Enai Yang. Yang, today I brought Aunt Furong to apologize to you." Shangguan Furong stepped out from behind Grandma Shangguan, and with an apologetic expression, she said, "Sorry, Yang. I shouldn't have meddled the other day and introduced you to Qianwei. You can rest assured, I won't do it again." Yes. If she ever tried to introduce another potential suitor to Enai Yang, she would be worse than an animal. She hoped Enai Yang would marry a worse-off person. Better yet, someone useless like Mo Qishan. Enai Yang smiled faintly. "I hope you'll remember your words today, Aunt Furong." Shangguan Furong nodded with a forced smile. Having apologized, Grandma Shangguan led Shangguan Furong back home. On the car ride home, Grandma Shangguan started the conversation. "Furong, your bad temper really needs some working on. If you keep this up, you'll inevitably suffer losses in the future. Zhaoshen might be simple and honest, but even a cornered dog will bite. As her mother, Grandma Shengguan was genuinely worried. Shengguan Furong laughed and said, "Aren't you the one who loves seeing me suffer losses?" Grandma Shengguan continued, "I heard that Lin Fong has been visiting your home frequently. Is that true? What about it?" Shengguan Furong looked at Grandma Shengguan. Grandma Shengguan continued, "Shengguan Furong is a widow who harbors devious intentions. You should distance yourself from such people, lest you end up suffering losses unknowingly." Grandma Shengguan saw Lin Fang's character for what it truly was. It wasn't because she was overly suspicious, but some people just needed to be guarded against. Shengguan Furong laughed, then sarcastically said, "Mother, who I want to associate with is my business. Could you please mind your own, and stop concerning yourself with our family affairs?" Grandma Shengguan frowned slightly. "I'm saying all of this for your own good. Have you ever seen a mother harm her own child?" "Well, when I was introducing suitors to Yang, I was doing it for the good of the Shengguan family. Have you ever seen a daughter who would harm her own mother?" Shengguan Furong turned the tables. She really hated Grandma Shengguan's hypocritical manner. It was utterly repugnant. Grandma Shengguan was at a loss for words. "Furong, how can you be so ungrateful? Don't you think the person being ungrateful is you?" Shengguan Furong looked at Grandma Shengguan, her face full of mockery. She had good intentions, thinking about the Shengguan family's interests, but Grandma Shengguan didn't appreciate it, and even punished her. Now at last, Grandma Shengguan could experience her feelings too. Shengguan Furong felt an intense satisfaction within. Grandma Shengguan sighed. She earnestly said, "Furong, trust me, Lin Fong is not a good person. It's best you don't have any dealings with her. Have you ever heard me say a word about your other friends?" As her own flesh and blood, Grandma Shengguan couldn't bear to see her treacherously sucked into some abyss. She had an intuition that Lin Fong was definitely getting close to Shengguan Furong with ulterior motives. Shengguan Furong said, "Mother, I have my own eyes to see, and I can judge for myself. I have a better understanding of Lin Fong than you do. Please refrain from making baseless comments about my friends. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 675. Engagement Scene Shining Brightly. _1 Seeing Shengguan Furong so obstinate, Shengguan old lady sighed. "Furong, you're being so stubborn, refusing to consider the opinions of others. One day, you will regret it." Shengguan Furong smiled and replied, "Mother, shouldn't I be the one saying those words to you? Who is really the stubborn one here?" She had always kept the best interests of the Shengguan family in mind, but had the old lady ever shown a shred of gratitude? Not only was she ungrateful, but she also took her good intentions for granted. Now, she was even being asked to apologize to a younger generation. When had Shengguan Furong ever suffered such humiliation? The old lady stood by Tsuehua and Yang wholeheartedly, but she would one day regret it. The old lady shook her head helplessly. "Well, I've warned you. Whether you choose to listen is up to you. But let me say this up front. If one day you are wronged by Lin Fong, don't come crying to me. If you don't mind losing face, I do." She had made herself clear. Shengguan Furong was in her 30s now, not a 3-year-old. She should know right from wrong. Shengguan Furong laughed scornfully. "Mother, rest assured. I will never give you the chance to see that day. But as for you, your bias for Daya and Yang, there will come a day when you might regret it." Source web novel. Com. Updated on Omicron. Don't worry, both Daya and Yang are not like that. The old lattice eyes were full of firm belief, firmly convinced that she would never misjudge a person. Who can guarantee that? She was waiting for that day. The day the old lady would regret her words. The old lady didn't say anything more. The 8th day of the 11th lunar month. Auspicious. Travel, engagement, trade, tourism, blessings. The engagement of Tsuehua and Shengguan Dehui was set for this day. The golden morning sun rose slowly from the east. By the time Yang woke up, Shengguan Dehui, Shengguan Su, and Shengguan Shi had already arrived. At this moment, they were having breakfast in the living room. "Uncle Shengguan, you came so early." Yang was somewhat surprised. And I Chungue laughed and said, "It's best to do such things as early as possible." "Yang Yang, sit here," Shangguanxi waved at Enai Yang. "The buns auntie made are simply delicious." Shangguansu took a sip of milk, then casually wiped an oil stain off the chair with a napkin. Enai Yang walked over and sat next to Shangguanxi. The chair she sat on was the one that Shangguansu had just wiped. Shangguan Dehui brought many essential items for the engagement. After breakfast, he, along with Shangguansu, took little Enai Yin and distributed wedding candies to each and every household. An engagement is a joyous occasion, of course. It should be shared with everyone. The candy bags not only contained candies but also red dates, peanuts, longans, lotus seeds, as well as 2 cookies and a packet of cigarettes. At this time in the village, distributing 2 candies per household for a happy event was already considered generous. It was quite unheard of for someone like Shangguan Dehui to distribute such large quantities. Enai Yang, on the other hand, was helping Enai Tsuehua style her hair with Shangguanxi. To be precise, Enai Yang was doing the hairstyling, while Shangguanxi was watching from the side. Enai Yang had very skillful hands, and in no time, she created a very intricate hairstyle. Shangguanxi couldn't help but exclaim, "Yang Yang, you're amazing. I never knew hairstyles could look this good." Enai Yang could cook, could fight, and could do business. She was simply too outstanding. Shangguanxi felt like she must have been a good person in her previous life to have such a talented sister in this life. Enai Yang laughed and said, "Sister Xiaoxi, it's not that hard once you know the trick. I can teach you when we have time." "Really?" Enai Yang nodded. Seeing Enai Yang and Shangguanxi getting along so well, Enai Tsuehua felt relieved. Once her hair was done, Enai Tsuehua went to change into her engagement gown. The engagement gown was brought by Shangguan Dehui, a wine-red Chinese-style dress. Enai Tsuehua had a great figure and fair skin. After putting on the dress, she looked at least 10 years younger. Elegant and dignified. "She is so beautiful." Shangguanxi gasped in awe. Although she knew Enai Tsuehua was pretty, she seemed like a completely different person after dressing up. "Yang Yang, take a picture of me and auntie." Shangguanxi, arm in arm with Enai Tsuehua, made a scissor hand sign. "Include me as well." Enai Chingue came over. Enai Yang took the camera and snapped many pictures. Just as Enai Tsuehua came out after changing, Emo Qishan and Wu Daming walked in with gift boxes from outside. "Brother Emo, Wu Daming." "Yang Yang." Emo Qishan walked over and shook hands with Enai Yang. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 676. Engagement Scene Shining Brightly. _2. Sister-in-law. Congratulations. Wu Daming placed the gift box on the coffee table in the middle of the living room. "Thank you." Yang Yang. Li Ronghua, along with Gooden and Li Fugue, walked in from outside. "Sister Enai Yang." Gooden was very excited to see Enai Yang. He was about ready to rush over and hug Enai Yang when his eyes met Emo Qishan, and chickened out. "Gooden." Enai Yang reached out and patted Gooden's little head. "Sister Li has also arrived." Wu Daming looked towards Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua gave Wu Daming a disdainful look. "Who are you calling sister?" This Wu Daming really needed putting in his place. No matter how many times she had said it, he just wouldn't quit calling her sister. Upon receiving Li Ronghua's scornful look, Wu Daming scratched his head and muttered to himself, "Looks just like an elder sister but doesn't want to be called one." He really was the most pitiable. Enai Yang intervened, laughing, "Sister Ronghua, Wu Daming Fugue Gooden. Let me introduce you. This is my sister Shangguanxi. Sister Xiaoxi, this is Mo's fellow classmate Wu Daming. This is my good friend Li Ronghua. This is Gooden, Ronghua's younger brother, and this is her eldest brother Li Fugue." Shangguanxi greeted everyone one by one. Source, web novel. Com, updated on new. Of course, Yang Gobeo's family couldn't be absent from Enai Quihua's engagement ceremony. A little later, Wang Meifeng brought Yang Changjing and Yang Guobao over. Seeing his long-lost friends, Gooden was especially excited. By the time Shangguan Dehui and the others returned from distributing candy for good fortune, it was precisely 8:30. The engagement ceremony was to be held in Shangguan's home. Therefore, everyone got ready to go to the Shangguans. Shangguan Furong, dressed in a big red gift outfit, was busy arranging the engagement ceremony site. She had a dominating character and wanted to decide every single matter herself. Madame Shangguan looked at the seating arrangement, a bit puzzled. Why are all the relatives on our side? Furong, where did you arrange the relatives from the Deyi side? In China, nothing is more important than table etiquette. During big occasions, the elders and important relatives would sit on the first table on either side, but Shangguan Furong arranged the first and second tables on both sides only with relatives from the Shangguan and Zhao's side. The third and fourth tables were for Ni Kuihua's relatives. Shangguan Furong said, "All the relatives you brought are poor folks from rural areas. It's embarrassing to have them at the first table. The first table should be reserved for esteemed guests. Having a group of nobles sit with country folk would be socially unacceptable." Madame Shangguan slightly frowned. "Furong, who are you looking down on? Did I say something wrong?" Shangguan Furong continued. "Dia is just a country girl. It's already a great honor for her to marry into our family. Now she wants to choose seating as well? Besides, isn't it a farce to let country folk sit with our relatives? The most esteemed guests on Ni Kuihua's side should be the Mo's and the Yangs. The Mo's came because of Mo Qishan, and the Yang family probably came because of the Mo's sake." At this point Shangguan Furong paused, and then continued. "Plus I've invited Li Long, Mr. Abner's assistant, to come. He will also attend my brother's engagement ceremony. That will really enhance our family's status. Do we want to embarrass ourselves in front of Mr. Li Long? Mr. Abner is a foreigner. Although his status in China is not as high as Mr. Mog's, he is still a powerful figure in Beijing. Otherwise, Shangguan Furong wouldn't have been so proud to have invited Li Long. No one could envy more than attracting the attention of Mr. Abner, even if it was only his assistant. Could Enide Suehua, a farmer, manage to make connections with Mr. Abner?" Madame Shangguan's face showed deep anger. "Furong, today is your brother's day of great joy. I don't want to argue with you. I will handle everything from now on." Madame Shangguan was old, and though she didn't have much energy and originally did not want to intervene, she hadn't expected Shangguan Furong to go too far, relocating Ni Kuihua's relatives to the third table and beyond. She couldn't believe that Furong had thought of this. "Mom," Shangguan Furong frowned and said, "You don't mind being embarrassed? It's you who makes me feel embarrassed." Madame Shangguan took the stage to guide people in rearranging the tables and chairs. Shangguan Furong, outraged, slammed the cup in her hand on the table. "Fine, fine, fine. Isn't it enough for you if I stop interfering? Anyway, when it comes to embarrassment, it's you who'll be the laughingstock, not me." Madame Shangguan rearranged the tables and chairs once again. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 677. Engagement Scene Shining Brightly. _3. The male relatives were seated on the left, while the female relatives were arranged on the right. As soon as this was arranged, Shangguan Dehui arrived with Enide Suehua. Madame Shangguan immediately greeted them. "Dehui Dia, what do you think of the arrangements here?" "Aunt, you arranged it very well. Thank you for your hard work," Enide Suehua replied. "No trouble at all, no trouble at all." Madame Shangguan looked towards the others behind her. "Everyone, please come in and take a seat." Although Enide Suehua didn't have many relatives in Beijing, quite a few people, both young and old, did come. The elders included Grandma Lu, Old Madame Mo, and Old Master Mo Li Ronghua and his two siblings, the three-member Yang Guobao family, Mo Qishan and Wu Daming, Ni Yang and Little Ni Yin, and Ni Qinggui among others were present. The village chief, representing the entire population of Jinghua village, was also present. Madame Shangguan immediately invited everyone inside. Shangguan Furong watched the crowd entering with a look of disdain on her face. The Mo and Yang families were alright since they were also wealthy families in Beijing. But what about the rest of these people? Such people were also allowed to enter the door of the Shangguan residence. Source Web Novel. Com. Updated on Omicron New Omicron. Madame Shangguan must have been out of her mind. being so enthusiastic with these people. Were they worthy? After everyone entered, it didn't take long for the rest of the guests to arrive as well. Shangguan Dehui and Enai Tsuehua stood at the door greeting guests and handing out candies. Shangguan Furong was also warmly welcoming guests on the other side. A stark contrast to her behavior just a while ago. The elitist circle was aware that Shangguan Dehui had married a rural woman. So many people attended the engagement ceremony with the mentality of enjoying the drama. Initially, they thought they'd see a crude village woman. But surprisingly, the bride-to-be was so beautiful. Enai Tsuehua, tall with an enviable figure, dressed in a traditional Chinese dress that reached the ground, light makeup on her face, refined and elegant, appeared even more striking than Shangguan Furong, the legitimate heiress. Where was this village girl they were expecting? Dehui, congratulations. I wish you a harmonious life. Thank you. Having thanked them, Shangguan Dehui turned to Enai Tsuehua. Dia, this is my colleague Professor Han. Hello Professor Han. With Enai Kuihua's polite demeanor, nobody could pick out any flaws, leaving everyone with a good impression of her. Shangguan Furong looked at Enai Tsuehua, squinting her eyes without a word. To overshadow Enai Tsuehua, she had purposely worn a dress even brighter than Enai's. Still, Tsuehua managed to steal the limelight. She's such a cunning woman. Enai Tsuehua was wearing high heels today. Taking advantage of a quiet moment, Shangguan Dehui whispered, Dia, do your feet hurt? Should we get a flat pair for you to change into? No need. Enai Tsuehua shook her head. I'm fine. In the blink of an eye, it was almost 11 o'clock, and most of the guests had arrived. Shangguan Furong, holding a wine glass, stood around chatting with a bunch of wealthy matrons. One of them said, Furong, I heard your future sister-in-law is a rural woman. Is that true? There was some hint of provocation in the question. A distinguished family marrying a village woman, that was quite novel. A rare occurrence in a century indeed. Shangguan Furong nodded. It's true. Don't let her good looks fool you. She doesn't know a single letter. She's just good at seducing men. Otherwise, how would my brother fall for her? I think she's quite pretty. And her daughter Enai Yang is also good-looking. Shangguan Furong snorted. Her daughter isn't any better. Both mother and daughter are vixens. Furong, from what I can see, it seems like you really don't like them, do you? Jia Zhenjin asked. Shangguan Furong replied. I've opposed this marriage from the start, but unfortunately, no one in my family listens to me. Would you like to see her make a fool of herself? Zhenjin playfully swirled her glass. What do you mean? Shangguan Furong asked eagerly. If she could see Enai Tsuehua humiliated in front of everyone at the wedding, it would definitely be amusing. A glint flashed in Shangguan Furong's eyes. Jia Zhenjin gave a mysterious smile. Just watch and see. After saying this, she carried her wine glass and headed towards Enai Tsuehua. Enai Tsuehua was in conversation with Zhao Yeshu, Madame Shangguan's sister-in-law. Zhao Shuya, being highly educated, had thought she wouldn't have much in common with Enai Tsuehua. However, surprisingly Enai Tsuehua was just as knowledgeable. Regardless of the topic, Enai Tsuehua always contributed to the conversation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 678. Shining brightly at the engagement scene. _4. This surprised her a bit. After all, the person standing in front of her was just a village woman. That's your daughter, isn't it? She's so pretty. The young man with her looks a bit familiar. Zhao Yeshu pointed at Enai Yang. Just then Jia Zhenjin, holding a glass of red wine, barged into her. Smack! The red wine splashed directly onto Enai Tsuehua. Jia Zhenjin immediately apologized. Sorry, are you okay? I didn't do it on purpose. Please forgive me. She quickly fired off a string of fluent English. Jia Zhenjin's intent was to embarrass Enai Tsuehua. How could she embarrass Enai Tsuehua if she used the normal language? It was somewhat quiet around them as everyone looked in their direction. Shangguan Furong looked over and said to the wealthy ladies beside her. Zhenjin really knows how to handle things. Who in the elite circle doesn't know English? If Enai Tsuehua doesn't source, Web novel. Com. Updated on Omicron New Zero. Where would it leave Madame Shangguan's face? It's about time Madame Shangguan learned what is the meaning of being well-matched in social and economic status. If it had been Lin Fong today, she would have handled it calmly, never letting the Shangguan family lose face. As for Anai Tsuehua, she can only make a fool of herself. Anai Tsuehua didn't expect someone to suddenly bump into her, and even less did she expect the person would speak in English. She was stunned for a moment, then she smiled and said, "No problem, don't worry about it." She replied in fluent English as well. At this time, Anai Tsuehua was extremely thankful that she and Anai Yang had taken a trip abroad and learned English afterwards, otherwise she would have been embarrassed today. Jia Zhenjin was dumbfounded. Shangguan Furong was shocked, so was Zhao Yeshu. No one expected Anai Tsuehua to speak English. Wasn't Anai Tsuehua illiterate, having never even finished primary school? How would an illiterate woman know how to speak English? Not only did Anai Tsuehua not make a fool of herself, but she also spectacularly turned the tables. Shangguan Dehui came over from the other side. "Daya, are you all right? Do you want to change your clothes?" He had prepared a backup dress in case of emergencies. "Okay." Anai Tsuehua nodded, and then turned to Jia Zhenjin. "Ma'am, the floor is slippery. Please be careful." "Slippery? The floor is covered in a thick red carpet. How could it be slippery?" Her words were a warning as well as a reminder. As the guest of honor today, if Anai Tsuehua had been deliberately bumped into and didn't retaliate, what would the other guests think? Also, since we are Chinese, I believe we should speak in Chinese. She then smoothly switched back to Mandarin. As soon as she finished, the looks of the others who heard her words instantly changed when they looked at Jia Zhenjin. Pretending to accidentally bump into Anai Tsuehua, taking advantage of the opportunity to splash wine onto her, purposely speaking English, TK. It's clear that Jia Zhenjin harbored ill intentions. No doubt, Anai Tsuehua's retaliation was exquisite. Shangguan Furong was grinding her teeth in anger. She had underestimated Anai Tsuehua. Jia Zhenjin's face had turned various colors. It was quite a sight. Sorry. Anai Tsuehua didn't say anything else. She turned and went to change her clothes with Shangguan Dehui. Jia Zhenjin ran to Shangguan Furong's side, frowning. "Furong, didn't you say that Daya was just an illiterate village woman?" She had been positive that Anai Tsuehua was a village woman, and found the courage to tease her. If she had known that Anai Tsuehua was so competent, and could even speak English, she would not have gone looking for trouble even if she was paid. She's now lost face inside and out. Shangguan Furong was also frustrated. "I don't know either. I asked my mother before, and she said that Daya didn't go to primary school. How did Anai Tsuehua suddenly learn to speak English?" "Zhenjin, don't be upset. It's my fault," Shangguan Furong followed. "By the way, I specially invited Mr. Li Long to be a guest today, and I'll introduce you to him later." "Who's Li Long?" Jia Zhenjin was somewhat puzzled. Zhao Yun on the side gasped in surprise. Could it be Mr. Abner's assistant, Li Long? "Yes." Shangguan Furong nodded. Who doesn't know about Mr. Abner? This man from F country is extremely proud and never associates with Chinese. No one knew how Shangguan Furong befriended his assistant. My gosh. Furong, you're too amazing. Furong, don't play favorites. I also want to meet Mr. Abner. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 679. Engagement Scene Shining Brightly. _5. At that moment, Jia Zhenjin's anger was completely dispersed by Mr. Abner. She thought about having Shangguan Furong introduce her to Li Long. At this moment, Shangguan Dehui brought Anai Tsuehua to the fitting room. "You go in and change. I'll wait for you outside," he said. "All right." Anai Tsuehua nodded. The spare dress was identical to what Anai Tsuehua was wearing, with a long zipper at the back. At home, it was Anai Yang who had helped her zip it up, but now alone, she couldn't manage, so she opened the door to ask for Shangguan Dehui's help. She opened the door slightly. "Can you come in and help me zip up?" Shangguan Dehui was a bit taken aback at first, then said, "All right." Upon entering, Shangguan Dehui immediately locked the door behind him. Zip! The zipper was pulled to the top. Enai Tsuehua turned, opened the door. Let's go. We should head out. At that moment, Shangguan Dehui leaned against the door, trapping Enai Tsuehua between the door and him, looking down to her with a dominating vibe. For a moment, Enai Tsuehua felt as if she'd traveled back more than 20 years ago. Source web novel. Com. Updated on In0New0. Shangguan Dehui's gaze on her was the same predatory look he had given her the first time they met. Just as Enai Tsuehua was about to say something, Shangguan Dehui leaned in for a kiss. He had wanted to do this for a long time, but he had been afraid of scaring her off, just as he had all those years ago. Today he had finally done something he had long wanted to, but had not dared to do. Let's go. Enai Tsuehua opened the door. Wait a moment, Shangguan Dehui asked hoarsely. What's the matter? Enai Tsuehua asked with a puzzled look. Shangguan Dehui picked up a lipstick from the dresser. Touch up your makeup before we go. Enai Tsuehua blushed as she took the lipstick and sat in front of the mirror. Shangguan Dehui continued. Are you using the lipstick I handed over today? Yes, Enai Tsuehua nodded. Use it again next time. Huh. Enai Tsuehua stared blankly. Leave me alone. Enai Tsuehua playfully shoved Shangguan Dehui. Aren't you too old to still be playing games? Shangguan Dehui squinted. I was only 21 the year I met you. So this year I'm at most 22. From the day he met her, his age had become fixed. Enai Tsuehua broke into a light laugh. About 10 minutes later, the two finally left the fitting room. The atmosphere in the main hall was lively. Everyone had heard that Li Long was coming. So many people were now crowded round Shangguan Furong. Everyone wanted to take this opportunity to get to know Li Long Furong. Are you really sure Li Long will come? Someone asked in disbelief. Shangguan Furong smiled. Why would I lie about something like this? If he's coming, you'll all see him soon. Shangguan Furong had met Li Long at a dinner party. After talking, she found out that Li Long had some connection with the Zhao family. At that time, she had even taken the chance to chat with Mr. Abner. For this engagement ceremony, Shangguan Furong had also sent an invitation to Mr. Abner. But she wasn't sure if Mr. Abner would come, so she hadn't mentioned it to anyone. Mr. Abner was a proud man, who never gave face to the great families. If he didn't come, wouldn't it be a loss of face? But Li Long would certainly come, because she had already arranged it with him. Someone chimed in. You said Li Long would come, but why hasn't he arrived yet? Yeah, why? It's nearly 11 o'clock. Just then, four figures walked in from outside. The two people in the front were clearly a mother and son. The two men trailing them were carrying lavish gifts. Seeing these four, the bustling hall gradually quieted down. The man in front, is that Mr. Abner? Mr. Abner was different from Mr. Mogg. Mr. Mogg kept a low profile and was mysterious. He never appeared in public, so nobody even knew his age. But Mr. Abner was very high profile. He often attended various cocktail parties. That's why the people in the upper class circle knew him. Shangguan Furong was ecstatic. She never thought Mr. Abner would come personally to congratulate her. He really did come. Furong, you're incredible. Not only did you invite Li Long, but also Mr. Abner. Although Mr. Abner's influence was not as powerful as Mr. Mogg's, he was still no one to be taken lightly. Moreover, Mr. Abner was a character that all the major families wanted to draw in, and yet he was subtly won over by Shangguan Furong. Suppressing her inner excitement, Shangguan Furong adjusted her smile, walked up to the group, and said in fluent English, Mr. Abner, you're here. Please this way. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 680. Engagement Scene Shining Brightly. _6. English is a universal language, so Mr. Abner shouldn't have trouble understanding it. Mr. Abner smiled at her and said in fluent Chinese, Is Enai Yang here? Enai Yang? Wasn't Mr. Abner the one she had invited? Why would he be looking for Enai Yang? Not to mention, how could someone like Enai Yang, a small-town girl, know Mr. Abner? She must be imagining things. Shangguan Furong smiled and said, Mr. Abner, thank you very much for accepting the invitation to attend my brother's engagement ceremony. Please come in. Mr. Abner's brows wrinkled slightly. Lady, I think you might be mistaken. I don't know you. I came to find Anai Yang. Is she here? The next second, Shangguan Furong's confident smile abruptly froze on her face. Embarrassing. So embarrassing. Everyone knew Mr. Abner had been invited by her. Now Mr. Abner claims he doesn't know her. He even insisted he was here looking for Anai Yang. Source, webnovel. Com, updated on Omicron News Zero. Hearing this, people began to whisper amongst themselves. Quickly recovering, Shangguan Furong bit the bullet and said, Mr. Abner, Anai Yang is my niece. Please come with me. Upon hearing that Anai Yang was her niece, Mr. Abner's attitude improved significantly. Could you please take me to Anai Yang? Just then, Anai Yang walked over from the other side. Mr. Abner. Miss Anai Yang. Mr. Abner immediately approached her. Yang. Georgiana was thrilled to see Anai Yang. She has been wanting to adopt Anai Yang as her goddaughter, but hadn't had the opportunity. Today, however, seems like a good opportunity. Mr. Abner continued. I heard that today is a joyous day for your mother. Therefore, my mother and I have brought along some modest gifts. We hope you will accept them. The moment he finished speaking, two aides beside him offered the pre-prepared gifts. A valuable 1,000-year-old ginseng and precious jewelry were displayed on the red velvet. The people around were stunned. It appears that Mr. Abner has no connection with the Shangguan family. He had legitimately come for Anai Yang's sake. Anai Yang was too amazing. She actually knew Mr. Abner. People could not even get close to Mr. Abner, while Anai Yang even had Mr. Abner bringing her gifts. What a magnificent honor. Shangguan Furong's face turned pale. She was actually outperformed by a small-town girl. Anai Yang took Mr. Abner to Anai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui. This is my uncle, and this is my mother. Uncle, auntie, I wish you a long and happy life together, Mr. Abner greeted politely. Shangguan Dehui took Mr. Abner's hand. Thank you. Had already known that Anai Yang was no ordinary person. So when he saw Anai Yang knew Mr. Abner, Shangguan Dehui was not surprised. Then Anai Yang introduced, this is my boyfriend Emo Chishan. Upon seeing Emo Chishan, Mr. Abner's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. Emo Chishan slightly smiled and took the initiative to stretch out his hand toward Mr. Abner. Mr. Abner, I've heard a lot about you. Mr. Abner glanced around and then revealed a mysterious smile. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure? Mr. Abner was showing respect to a good-for-nothing? What could this good-for-nothing possibly teach him? But it makes sense when you think about it. After all, Mr. Abner is from F country and isn't acquainted with Chinese customs. He probably didn't know about Emo Chishan's reputation. Unfortunately, this good-for-nothing, instead of being modest, accepted the compliment with a smile. Does he even realize the person standing in front of him is Mr. Abner? A good-for-nothing will always be a good-for-nothing. A worthless thing. Anai Yang must be blind. Being such a beauty, how could she fancy Emo Chishan? Because of Mr. Abner, Anai Tsuehua quickly became the most popular person there, with everyone showing their friendliness. During the meal, Mr. Abner sat with the village chief, Grandma Lu, and the Emo family at the first table on the right side. Guests from the left side kept coming over to toast. The rich dames who were originally hanging around Shangguan Furong also rushed to the right side. Shangguan Furong's face looked quite ugly. Mr. Abner was her guest. How did he end up being Anai Yang's guest? What sort of dishonorable methods did she employ? Sitting next to Anai Yang, Georgiana turned to Anai Tsuehua, who was hoisting her wine glass. Miss Anai, I really like Yang and we get along quite well. May I adopt her as my goddaughter? As these words were spoken, several people present were a bit taken aback. Georgiana is adopting Anai Yang as her goddaughter. Wouldn't that make Mr. Abner Anai Yang's brother, and Anai Tsuehua Mr. Abner's godmother? What an honor! There would be a line of people from here to the end of the Yangtze River wanting to become Georgiana's goddaughter. Shangguan Furong felt mixed emotions, and found it hard to swallow back her discomfort. Why on earth did she want to recognize a goddaughter out of the blue? If she wanted to recognize a goddaughter, shouldn't she have chosen her? What qualifications does Enai Yang have to be Georgiana's goddaughter? Shangguan Furong felt like vomiting blood. Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang exchanged a glance and smiled. It's Yang Yang's good fortune if you would consider her as your goddaughter. Seeing that there were so many people present, if they denied the request, they would seem ungrateful. Moreover, personal relationships are really important. Many hands make light work after all. Georgiana immediately had her assistant present the prepared sapphire necklace as a token of their newfound bond. Country people adore gems. So this was an incredibly lavish sapphire necklace. The sapphires shone dazzlingly, as mysterious and alluring as the deep sea. This necklace is a relic from the last century, very valuable. A few people present recognized the origin of the necklace, and the air was filled with gasps. It seems that Georgiana was not joking. She really considered Enai Yang as her goddaughter. Georgiana put the necklace on Enai Yang herself. It's beautiful. Enai Yang was already beautiful, but wearing the sapphire necklace, she looked even more radiant. Thank you, godmother. Enai Yang politely expressed her thanks. Georgiana extended her arms to hug Enai Tsuehua. You have a wonderful daughter. You flatter us. Who amongst those present was not envious of Enai Tsuehua? People initially thought that Enai Tsuehua, a rural woman, would embarrass herself at the engagement ceremony. Surprisingly, not only did she not embarrass herself, but she also brought great honor to herself. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 681. All the stars surround the moon. Infinite scenery _1. The person who felt the most uncomfortable at that moment had to be Shangguan Furong. She had been running around for Shangguan Dihui's engagement, even inviting Li Long over, only to find out that she had ended up preparing the wedding outfit for Enai Tsuehua and her daughter, Enai Yang. The person who should have been in the limelight was supposed to be her. How did it turn out to be Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang? How did they even know Mr. Abner? Just two country bumpkins. What gave them the right? The more Shangguan Furong thought about it, the less willing she was to accept it, almost wishing she could tear Enai Tsuehua's face into pieces. Furong. Zhaoshan gently tugged at her sleeve. What is it? Shangguan Furong turned her head impatiently. Zhaoshan swallowed, then said, Shall we also offer a toast to brother and sister-in-law? Shangguan Dihui and Enai Tsuehua were the stars of the evening. All the guests took the initiative to toast to them. It would seem a bit strange if they didn't. Shangguan Furong rolled her eyes at Zhaoshan. Sister-in-law? The wedding hasn't even taken place yet. How is she considered a sister-in-law? I said you're stupid, and you really are stupid. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Omicron New. Even if they were married, they could still get divorced. Not to mention Shangguan Dihui and Enai Tsuehua were not even married yet. But Zhaoshan was somewhat troubled. But our mom is watching, and there are so many relatives and friends here. Furong, let's just go over there. There were so many people present, they couldn't possibly embarrass the old Shangguan madam. Shangguan Furong weighed the pros and cons, and finally chose to pick up the wine glass, and with Zhaoshan, they went up to Shangguan Dihui and Enai Tsuehua. Brother, Dia, Zhaoshan and I toast to you. Zhaoshan stood by holding his glass. Thank you, Furong. Enai Tsuehua raised her cup and clinked it with hers. Shangguan Dihui remained silent as he held little Enai Yun with one arm, taking a sip from his drink. Shangguan Furong subtly bit her lip, knowing that Shangguan Dihui was still upset about the incident last time. But that incident wasn't her fault to begin with. Moreover, old Madame Shangguan had slapped her, and she already apologized to Enai Yang. Now, Shangguan Dihui couldn't even tell right from wrong, all for Enai Tsuehua. Does he even deserve to be a brother? Miss Enai, Mr. Shangguan, congratulations. Mr. Abner walked over from the other side with his glass in hand. Mr. Abner. Shangguan Dihui raised his glass to him. Georgia even claimed Enai Yang as her daughter. Mr. Abner giving a toast was trivial. In comparison, Mr. Abner was still a junior in front of Shangguan Dihui. Shangguan Furong squinted her eyes. She, being Shangguan Dihui's sister, would be considered as Mr. Abner's aunt. Being the elder, Mr. Abner should certainly toast to her also. As long as Mr. Abner offered her a toast, at least she could somewhat recover her lost face. Thinking like this, her heart was slightly comforted. Shangguan Farang straightened her back, waiting for Mr. Abner to toast her. However, not only did Mr. Abner not toast her, but he walked away with Shangguan Dahui instead. Apparently, the two had something to discuss. Enai Tsuehua took little Enai Yin from Shangguan Dahui and chatted with Georgia. In a conversation between two men, Shangguan Farang couldn't really have a say. She should find Georgia instead. Georgia was Mr. Abner's mother. If she managed to please Georgia, it was the same as pleasing Mr. Abner. But it seemed that Georgia was already engaged in a conversation with Enai Tsuehua. Shangguan Farang naturally wouldn't stoop so low to initiate a conversation with Enai Tsuehua. Toasting her was already giving her plenty of face. If anything, Enai Tsuehua should be the one coming over with Georgia. She was the only remaining daughter-in-law in the Shangguan family, so Enai Tsuehua should think of a way to please her. Just like Lin Feng trying to please her. Unfortunately, Enai Tsuehua didn't have the slightest comprehension of that. If Enai Tsuehua was willing to bring Georgia over tonight, she would forgive Enai Tsuehua. If Enai Tsuehua wasn't willing to take a hint, she would never forgive Enai Tsuehua in her life. Shangguan Farang squinted her eyes. She had waited for so long, but Enai Tsuehua never took the initiative to please her. Shangguan Farang was so angry that it was making her sick. She left before the engagement banquet was over without uttering a word, leaving Zhao Shen behind to clean up the mess. Old Madame Shangguan looked at Zhao Shen and said apologetically, "Zhao Shen, Farang has always been over-competitive. That must have upset you quite a few times." Zhao Shen responded with a smile. "It's fine. I know Farang is not a bad person." He had grown used to it over the years. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 682. All the stars surround the moon, infinite scenery _2. Arguing further has no point. Today was supposed to be a day of joy. Old Mrs. Shangguan didn't want to bring up these unpleasant matters. But Shangguan Farang had truly overstepped her bounds. She just up and left without a word. What would Enai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dahui think of that? Old Mrs. Shangguan continued. "Zhao Shen, there are times when a man should stand tall. Don't let her keep bullying you." Zhao Shen nodded. "Mom, I understand. Don't worry, Farang isn't that unreasonable of a person." Old Mrs. Shangguan let out a soft sigh. "I know exactly what sort of person she is. Now, I heard that Farang and Lin Feng have been getting pretty close lately?" "It seems that way." Zhao Shen continued to nod. Old Mrs. Shangguan continued. "Lin Feng is a very calculating person. She acts one way from the front, and another from the back. When it comes to guile, Farang can't outplay her. I've already warned Farang, and you should also be wary of Lin Feng. Shangguan Farang is the type of person that wears her flaws on her face. She speaks her mind. If she had a bit of cunning in her, she wouldn't just up and leave without even saying hello. Whilst Lin Feng is rotten to the core, the type of person who acts like a human in front of others and a devil behind their back. These two people simply aren't on the same level. Shangguan Farang isn't a match for Lin Feng." Zhao Shen understood the implication behind old Mrs. Shangguan's words. "All right, Mom, don't worry, you'll be mindful." Source, web novel. Com, updated on new. Old Mrs. Shangguan nodded. "Good, with your words, I am reassured." In reality, Zhao Shen is a very clever person. Otherwise, the Zhao family would not have lasted as long as they have, but rather, they continue to flourish. The reason he carries no weight in Zhao family matters and always listens to Shangguan Farang is simply because he's in love with her. He truly likes Shangguan Farang. Back in the day, he paid quite a price to marry Shangguan Farang. Taking advantage of Zhao Shen's love for her, Shangguan Farang does as she pleases in the Zhao family, acting arrogantly and willfully. Even old Mrs. Zhao has to live at the mercy of her moods. Zhao Shen continued. "I'll go speak with my brother and sister-in-law now so they won't misunderstand Farang." Old Mrs. Shangguan nodded. After the engagement ceremony ended, Enai Yang and Mo Chishan escorted Georgia and Mr. Abner to the door. Shangguan Dehui and Inaid were seeing off the other guests. Mo Qishan stepped forward, embodying the true gentleman as he held the car door open for them. Please. Georgia was holding on to Inai Yang's arm. She leaned in and whispered, Yang, you have a wonderful boyfriend. It was evident from Mo Qishan's words and actions that he truly cared for Inai Yang. Thank you. Mr. Abner looked at Mo Qishan. Yang is my mother's goddaughter, so wouldn't that make us somewhat like brothers? Mo Qishan gave a slight nod. It is my honor. Mr. Abner said, being able to call myself brother to Mr. Mo is my honor. Though others were unaware of Mo Qishan's status, Mr. Abner certainly was. 3 years ago, he had seen Mo Qishan once at a large gathering in F country. He was surrounded by a crowd, like the moon surrounded by the stars, full of glamour. Simultaneously, he was also the only Chinese person there. How could such a person possibly be a wastrel? Watching the car driving away, Inai Yang tugged on Mo Qishan's sleeve. Brother Mo, did you and Mr. Abner know each other ahead of time? Mo Qishan gave a slight nod. I did meet him once a couple of years ago in F country. Inai Yang laughed. No wonder I felt something off about the way you two were interacting at the party. Yang, are you jealous? Mo Qishan threw his arm over Inai Yang's shoulder, smiling as he asked. Inai Yang said helplessly, You're thinking too much. Mo Qishan lowered his gaze and stole a quick kiss on her cheek, as light as a dragonfly skimming the water. Inai Yang glared at him. We're in public, mind your image, careful people see. Though Beijing wasn't as conservative in 1984, public displays of affection were still a rarity. Then well do it secretly in the future. Inai Yang. All these events were noticed by Shangguan Su from the second floor. Inai Yang was an exceptional person. As her older brother, he should shoulder his responsibilities and make sure she doesn't end up with some worthless man. Luckily, Mo Qishan wasn't as despicable as the rumors suggested. Shangguan Zu's eyes hardened, and he took a swig of his drink. Zhao family residence. When Zhao Shen returned, Shangguan Furong had just finished her shower and stepped out of the bathroom. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 683. All the stars surround the moon, infinite scenery _3. She wore a deep purple bathrobe, her eyebrows and eyes were less dominant than usual, and she looked softer. Zhao Shen gazed at her, as if seeing the shy young girl from 15 years ago. His heart stirred for a moment as he moved to embrace Shangguan Furong, only to be roughly pushed away by her. You're sleeping in the guest room tonight. Shangguan Furong was still upset about what had happened at the engagement banquet today, so she naturally wasn't pleased with Zhao Shen. As for Shangguan Furong's orders, Zhao Shen never dared to disobey. He gathered up his bedding and change of clothes, shoved open the door, and began walking towards the study. Zhao Shen just reached the living room when the old lady Zhao descended from the stairs above. Did Furong kick you out again? Zhao Shen nodded. Old lady Zhao heaved a sigh. How many times has it been this month? Mom, I'm fine. Zhao Shen continued. I'm going to bed. You should also go to sleep early. Watching Zhao Shen walk towards the study, old lady Zhao furrowed her brow deeply. She walked over, picked up the telephone and dialed a number. After hanging up, old lady Zhao headed towards the Buddha hall in the backyard. The Zhao family's study was quite large. Having freshly emerged from the bathroom, the telephone on the desk began to ring. Zhao Shen walked over to answer it. Hello. A soft and urgent female voice came from across the line. Hello? Is this Sister Furong? Source web novel. Com, updated on Omicron New. It was clearly Lin Fang's voice. This is Zhao Shen. There was a moment of pause on the other side of the line. Then came the voice. Brother-in-law, I'm at a public telephone booth on Cart Road. It's raining heavily outside. My bicycle has been stolen, and I think someone has been following me. Can you help me? Other than Sister Furong, I really can't find anyone else to help me. As she spoke her last words, Lin Fang's voice was filled with a sobbing tone. She sounded lonely and helpless, completely irresistible. Zhao Shen was inherently a righteous man. Faced with such a situation, he naturally couldn't ignore it. All right. Stay right there, I'll be right there. Thank you, brother-in-law. Lin Feng hung up the phone, her face streaked with tears. Yet a smirk of triumph played at the corner of her mouth. It rained heavily. The rain plinked and plunked upon the eaves, even mixed with bits of snow. Zhao Shen drove off, the headlight in the dark splitting the night with a ray of stark white light, illuminating his way. Hearing the engine of the car, old lady Zhao, who was seated in the Buddha hall, knocked on her bead bracelet, then suddenly put down her hammer, stood up, and lit a stick of incense that she placed in the censer. Ba. Old lady Zhao joined her hands together, and devoutly bowed her head. Meanwhile, Shangguan Furong had fallen into a deep sleep. Cart Road wasn't far from the Zhao family house, and Zhao Shen easily found the telephone booth mentioned by Lin Feng. Holding an umbrella, he stepped out of the car. Xiaolin? Comrade Xiaolin? Upon hearing Zhao Shen's voice, Lin Feng, who had been crouching in the corner of the telephone booth, immediately stood up as if seeing hope. She ran over to Zhao Shen and threw her arms around him, breaking into uncontrollable sobs. Lin Feng and Shangguan Furong were vastly different. Lin Feng was a delicate woman who needed protection, while Shangguan Furong was unyieldingly assertive. Zhao Shen was a man, and deep within his bones, hidden away, was a desire to conquer and to protect. Lin Feng's behavior, however, made up for what Shangguan Furong lacked. For a while, Zhao Shen found it hard to push Lin Feng away. Recalling how he had just been kicked out of their room by Shangguan Furong, Zhao Shen began to feel angry. In a fit of what felt like revenge, he embraced Lin Feng, dropping the black umbrella to the ground. The icy raindrops instantly soaked their clothes. On Lin Feng's face, a smug smile curled up at the corner of her mouth. Zhao Shen couldn't escape from her grasp after all. Thank you for coming, brother-in-law. Lin Feng choked out. Get in the car, I'll take you home. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. The two got in the car and Zhao Shen handed Lin Feng a dry towel. Wipe your face. Thank you, brother-in-law. Lin Feng accepted the towel and then asked, Can I call you by your name? That question carried a deep implication. Zhao Shen fell silent. Furong is older than you, it's better if you call me brother-in-law. At his words, although Lin Feng's face showed disappointment, she did not feel disheartened in her heart. Zhao Shen hadn't pushed her away earlier, indicating that he was wavering. Some things had to be taken step by step. Zhao Shen started the engine to leave. Just as the car reached the foot of the building, Lin Feng said, I don't want to go home. Then where do you want to go? Zhao Shen turned his head to look at Lin Feng. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 684. All the stars surround the moon. Infinite scenery _4. Lin Feng looked at Zhao Shen, her face pale. As long as I don't have to go home, anywhere will do. Zhao Shen stayed silent for a while, ultimately choosing to drive away. Eventually, Zhao Shen parked in front of a villa with Lin Feng. Zhao Shen was truly wealthy. This villa was just one of many properties he owned. Looking at the luxurious villa, a determined expression flashed in Lin Feng's eyes. Zhao Shen led Lin Feng inside, where a servant immediately greeted them, Mr. Zhao. Zhao Shen nodded in acknowledgement. The servant looked up, and was taken aback to see that the person accompanying Mr. Zhao this time was not Mrs. Zhao. Despite her surprise, the servant didn't show it. She was just a servant. Her job was to perform her duties properly. Zhao Shen took Lin Feng to the master bedroom on the 3rd floor. If you don't want to go home, you can stay here for the night. There are clothes in the closet, but they are all in Furong size. If you don't mind, feel free to change into one. Lin Feng didn't say a word, her eyes cast down. She wanted to take a gamble. Just as Zhao Shen was about to turn and leave, she suddenly stood up and hugged Zhao Shen. Zhao Shen, I don't want to stay here temporarily. I want to live here forever. Also, I want the wardrobe to be filled with our clothes. Zhao Shen stiffened. After a long pause, he gently unclenched Lin Feng's hands. I'm sorry, we can't do this. I only love Furong. It's all right. I don't mind who you love, as long as you know I love you, Lin Feng said. As long as you're willing to be with me, I don't mind being nameless. Wuxia World. Site Wuxia World. Sight Lin Feng's love was humble. She knew that she would only earn Zhao Shen's sympathy and pity by showing her humility. She was not Shangguan Furong, who was messing around with Zhao Shen's feelings just because he liked her. No. Zhao Shen coldly pushed Lin Feng away. What we are doing is wrong. Lin Feng looked at Zhao Shen and asked, "Are you afraid of Shangguan Furong?" Her words were like a catalyst, instantly igniting Zhao Shen's desire for revenge. Why should he fear Shangguan Furong? Lin Feng walked over. "We are both pitiful people. Why don't we rely on each other for warmth?" This time, Zhao Shen didn't reject Lin Feng, but instead embraced her. Somewhere along the line, someone turned off the light in the bedroom, leaving everything enveloped in darkness. In Beijing, it was customary for a bride-to-be to spend 3 nights at her groom's home after the engagement. She could only return home after 3 days. And Ai Young didn't want to remain as the third wheel. Moreover, she had workers to supervise at home, hence she didn't stay. Shangguan Dehui arranged for transportation to send the other villagers back. And Ai Young, however, rode in Mo Qixin's car. Yang. Mo Qixin, eyes focused on the road ahead, asked in a seemingly casual way, "What's up?" And Ai Young tilted her head slightly. "Are you brave?" Mo Qixin asked back. And Ai Young nodded, "Quite." After all, what was there to be afraid of for someone who had experienced death before? Upon hearing this, a hint of disappointment flashed in Mo Qixin's eyes as he continued, Yang, are you afraid of ghosts?" "No." And Ai Young shook her head. "Why do other girls fear ghosts but you don't?" questioned Mo Qixin. And Ai Young laughed. "Brother Mo, if you have something to say, just say it directly. No need to beat around the bush." Mo Qixin cleared his throat and said simply, "Well, I'm saying if you're afraid of being at home alone, I can stay with you." As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Qixin added, Yang, don't misunderstand, I'm just worried you might be scared." And Ai Young squinted her eyes. "Are you harboring ulterior motives?" I'm not. Yang, don't slander me." Mo Qixin's ears turned red. Tsk. And Ai Young reached out to pinch his ear. "Look at you, pretending to be a gentleman." "Boss, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Focus on driving, don't think about unnecessary things." And Ai Young sat up straight, turned on the car stereo, and a light song immediately filled the air. "The tips of the peach leaves are sharp, the willow leaves cover the sky, listen to my words, O Emperor Ming." This song, exploring the Clearwater River, was a narrative song popular in Beijing. And Ai Young remembered that in her previous life, a handsome young man turned this narrative song into a pop hit. Chapter 685. All the stars surround the moon. Infinite scenery _5. At this moment in the 80s, hearing this ancient song again gave a sense of being transported through time and space. And Ai Young hummed along to it as she listened. Her voice was clear and melodious. When she hummed a tune, it carried an indescribable charm, like a gentle breeze in April, cleansing souls and refreshing minds. Mo Qixin glanced her way, a faint smile playing at the corner of his mouth. Even though he had slowed down, they quickly arrived at Jinghua village. And Ai Young got out of the car. Mo Qixin accompanied her to the entrance of the Inai family courtyard. Yang, remember to be safe when you're alone at home at night. Don't open the door to strangers," he cautioned. And Ai Young laughed and said, "Isn't Aunt Inai next door? Don't worry, it'll be fine." Mo Qixin hugged her. His eyes spoke of his reluctance to leave. And Ai Young returned his hug and said, "Brother Mo, to be honest, I'm quite scared. Why don't you stay and protect me?" Even though society was conservative concerning male-female relationships, inviting a man to stay for the night was quite daring. But Ai Young trusted Mo Qixin. Despite sometimes being mischievous, Mo Qixin was an uncommonly honorable man. "Really?" Mo Qixin's eyes lit up. "Wuxia world. Sight really?" And Ai Young nodded. They both went inside the house together. And Ai Young prepared the next room for him. "Brother Mo, you can stay here tonight. There's a bathroom in the room." "Okay." Mo Qixin nodded in agreement. That night, Mo Qixin had the most restful sleep ever. The next morning, Mo Qixin was up before dawn. Since Inai Tsuehua was not home, He would take up the responsibility of caring for Enai Yang. He wanted to prepare a surprise for Enai Yang. Mo Chishan quietly went downstairs to the kitchen, rolled up his sleeves, and prepared to make breakfast. The kitchen of the Enai family was designed by Enai Yang. On one side there was a simple Western-style gas stove. On the other side, there was a traditional Chinese stove for burning firewood. Under normal circumstances, both Enai Yang and Enai Tsuehua used the traditional stove, as food cooked over a wood fire was much tastier than that cooked on a gas stove. After a bit of thought, Mo Chishan decided to use the traditional stove. Mo Chishan had not known how to cook before. He had never even been inside a kitchen. However, after spending so much time with Enai Yang and often being her assistant, he gradually learned to cook. Mo Chishan opened the refrigerator. There was pork, tomatoes, leeks, greens and other ingredients inside. So he decided to make pork and chive-filled dumplings for breakfast and tomato and vegetable noodles. From what he observed, Enai Yang loved noodles. Like Enai Yang, Mo Chishan was a man of action and started cooking immediately. Packing dumplings was not difficult, Enai Yang had taught him before. Though his dumplings didn't look as good as Enai Yang's, they were decent. As the minutes and seconds passed, the light outside grew brighter, and a streak of golden morning light shone through the window. When Enai Yang came down the stairs, she saw an apron-wrapped man, who usually exuded a chill aura, busily bustling around the stove. From Enai Yang's perspective, she had a perfect view of his sharp yet beautiful side profile. His thin lips were a barely visible line. He was deeply focused on cutting the tomatoes. His hands were very beautiful. Clean, tidy, the joints well-defined, symmetrical and long. He was merely cutting tomatoes, but he did it with the authority of a powerful ruler. He who excels in study can follow an official career. He who excels in martial arts can become a guard. Enai Yang found this phrase fitting for Mo Chishan. Brother Mo. Enai Yang went to Mo Chishan's side. Yang. Mo Chishan looked surprised. How did you wake up so early? The food won't be ready for a while. Enai Yang laughed. Maybe I should take over. Cooking isn't really a man's job. Gender equality has long been recognized. Who said that the kitchen necessarily belonged to girls? Mo Chishan continued. Boss, your thinking is not advanced enough. Mo Chishan used to believe that a kitchen was not a place for a man. A man should be ambitious and can't allow himself to be confined to the kitchen. But ever since he met Enai Yang, let alone cooking in the kitchen, even if he had to scrub clothes or clean the toilet, he had not a single complaint. Enai Yang laughed lightly. All right, your thinking is advanced. Anyway, what's for breakfast? There are steamed dumplings and tomato noodles. Mo Chishan continued. Is there anything special you want to eat? I can make it for you. Chapter 686, Breaking News. _1 Lady Zhao never complained. Even if she did have any complaints, she dared not to voice them. After eating a few donuts, Shangguan Furong spoke again. Also, the porridge today doesn't seem as thick as yesterday's, Mom. Did you wake up late this morning? Upon hearing this, Lady Zhao, who was holding a donut, immediately stopped. Last night, she had spent almost the entire night in the Buddha Hall, indeed waking up a bit later than usual this morning. Could it be? Had Shangguan Furong noticed something? A chill ran down Lady Zhao's spine. She raised her head to glance at Shangguan Furong before saying, Sure, I'll pay more attention tomorrow morning. Shangguan Furong nodded contentedly. And I want to eat crystal pan-fried dumplings for breakfast tomorrow. It seemed Shangguan Furong hadn't noticed anything. Thus Lady Zhao let out a sigh of relief. After finishing breakfast, Shangguan Furong took out a tissue, elegantly wiped her mouth. By the way, where's Zhao Shen? Lady Zhao flinched but quickly tried to regain her composure. He had something to do and went out. Oh, Shangguan Furong nodded, paying it no further thought. I'm going over to my mom's. Today was Enai Quihua's first day at the Shangguans. Naturally, she had to go and check on her. Otherwise, what standing would she have in the Shangguan household in the future? Wuxia World. Site Wuxia World. Site. Enai Tsuehua was a new daughter-in-law, and as such, she should serve her a cup of tea. She missed the opportunity last night, but this morning, she would definitely put Enai Tsuehua in her place. Sure. Lady Zhao stood up and escorted Shangguan Furong to the door. Seeing Shangguan Furong's disappearing figure, a layer of fine sweat formed on Lady Zhao's forehead. Just as Shangguan Furong left, Zhao Shen drove in. A ray of light flashed in Lady Zhao's eyes, and she went up to meet him at once. Shen Bao. Mom. Zhao Shen got out of the car. Zhao Shen glanced at Lady Zhao. Mom, Lady Zhao waved her hand. Don't say anything, I understand. Have you had breakfast yet? Zhao Shen shook his head. Lady Zhao replied. Come in and have a meal then, the soup is still hot. Okay. Zhao Shen nodded and followed Lady Zhao inside. Lady Zhao served Zhao Shen some porridge. Zhao Shen looked around the dining room. Where's Furong? She went to her mother's house. Lady Zhao replied. Zhao Shen lowered his head to drink a spoonful of porridge. Furong, she didn't find out anything, did she? No. Lady Zhao shook her head. That's good. Zhao Shen sighed in relief. Mom, the porridge you make is really delicious. His mood had improved. Even the plain porridge tasted better. Lady Zhao replied. You have a sweet tongue. A moment ago, Furong thought my porridge wasn't thick enough. Zhao Shen paused while drinking his porridge. Lady Zhao was now 78 years old, an age when one should be enjoying the tranquility of life, yet she had to endure the displeasure of her daughter-in-law. Despite having maids at home, Lady Zhao had to make breakfast every morning because Shangguan Furong preferred her cooking. It was forgivable that Shangguan Furong didn't express gratitude, but her complaints were unacceptable. It was his fault for not being filial. Lady Zhao, as if sensing Zhao Shen's concerns, laughed and said, Shen Bao, you don't need to worry about me. As we age, waking up early and moving around to exercise is good for our bodies. People are like machines, if we don't move we rust. Is it not just making breakfast? I've dealt with much worse when I was young. In her youth she endured hardship. Now when life has improved, she is still facing hardship. Upon hearing this, Zhao Shen felt worse. He quickly finished a bowl of porridge and ran upstairs saying, Mom, I'm full. As Lady Zhao watched Zhao Shen's retreating figure, a glint of determination flashed in her eyes. After so many years, it was time for Zhao Shen to stand up for himself. Shangguan Furong arrived at the Shangguans. Lady Shangguan was in the living room, playing with little Anai Yun. Mom, where are my brother and Daya? Shangguan Furong had been in the house for quite some time, and she hadn't seen Anai Tsuehua, this newlywed, come forward to greet her. How rude. Lady Shangguan peeled a grape for little Anai Yun. They went out to watch a movie. It was currently the 11th month of the lunar calendar, and due to limited preservation technology, grapes were rare and difficult to buy, even for the wealthy. Shangguan Furong was shocked when she saw Lady Shangguan feeding little Anai Yun grapes. Did a child with no blood relation really deserve such good treatment from Lady Shangguan? Shangguan Furong noticed that Lady Shangguan treated little Anai Yun no different from her own grandchildren, Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing. Chapter 687, Breaking News. _2. But Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing are her own great-grandchildren. Can they be compared? Lady Shangguan really can't seem to prioritize. They went to watch a movie and left you alone at home to take care of the child? Yes. Lady Shangguan nodded. Our little Yunyun is so well-behaved and obedient. Yunyun, call Auntie. Auntie, little Anai Yun crisply called. Shangguan Furong ignored little Anai Yun and continued. Why? Why do they go out to have fun, and leave you alone at home to take care of the child? A child that has no blood relation with the Shangguan family. Shangguan Furong is now filled with anger. Because I really like little Yunyun. Lady Shangguan picked up little Anai Yun and decided to ignore Shangguan Furong. She really loved little Anai Yun a lot. Usually, Shangguan Dehui rarely came home, and Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi only returned on holidays. She was very bored alone at home, often just sitting on the sofa in a daze. But now it was different. Now she had little Anai Yun. Little Anai Yun was like a pistachio. With her company, Lady Shangguan felt she had grown a lot younger. Does she still go by the surname Anai? Continued Shangguan Furong. Lady Shangguan frowned slightly. Furong, can't you worry less? Mom, do you really think we're charitable, raising other people's children? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Shangguan Furong crossed her arms. Little Anai Yun didn't understand what the adults were saying and blinked curiously. Lady Shangguan hugged little Anai Yun tightly. Yun Yun, do you want to swing and slide in the back garden with Grandma? So that little Anai Yun could have more fun. Lady Shangguan had splurged to bring in a slide from another town. Sure. Little Anai Yun nodded. Lady Shangguan didn't bother with Shangguan Furong anymore. She took little Anai Yun to the back garden. Shangguan Furong watched Lady Shangguan's retreating figure, shook her head helplessly, and went to the master bedroom on the second floor. This was the room where Shangguan Dehui and Anai Tsuehua stayed last night. Shangguan Furong pushed open the door. The room was arranged very warmly, with a red scarf hanging on the coat rack. Shangguan Furong pushed open the bathroom door. A row of skincare products was set on the wash basin, all of which were the supreme edition of Icy Skin Jade. Without thinking, she knew that these skincare products belonged to Anai Tsuehua. With Anai Kuihua's status as a country woman, did she deserve such high-quality things? Shangguan Furong frowned, picked up a bottle of essence milk and sniffed it. The supreme edition seemed to smell much better than the regular edition. Anai Tsuehua was just a peasant woman. Where did she get the money to buy Icy Skin Jade? Without having to think, she knew these cosmetics must have been given to her by Shangguan Dehui. Stealing was not Shangguan Furong's style. But using it shouldn't be a problem, right? After all, this was bought with the Shangguan family's money. Shangguan Furong turned on the faucet and washed her face carefully with face wash, followed by lotion and essential oils. She didn't know if it was just her imagination, but she felt the Supreme Edition was much better than the regular edition. She didn't even get to buy such a good thing. How come Anai Tsuehua got to benefit? Shangguan Furong looked at herself in the mirror and frowned slightly. By now, she had forgotten that Anai Tsuehua once gave her a box of the Supreme Edition Icy Skin Jade. She didn't cherish it and even questioned it as a fake, which embarrassed Anai Tsuehua. Shangguan Furong then opened the door of the neighboring cabinet. This cabinet was filled with perfumes and shampoos. But more importantly, Shangguan Furong found another box of extra Supreme Edition Icy Skin Jade. People queue up and couldn't buy it, but Anai Tsuehua had one for herself and another one to spare. Was this set of Icy Skin Jade meant to please her? Shangguan Furong narrowed her eyes and reached out to take the gift box. It took her a while before she put the gift box back. Even if Anai Tsuehua wanted to please her, she wouldn't accept Anai Tsuehua so easily. Unless Anai Tsuehua was willing to willingly change Anai Yang's and Anai Yun's surnames to Shangguan. Otherwise, she would never accept Anai Tsuehua. Shangguan Furong looked around the room for a while, then went downstairs. Furong, what were you doing upstairs? Asked Lady Shangguan, hugging little Anai Yun as she came in from outside. Shangguan Furong said, Mom, what a strange question. This is my home. Isn't there anywhere I'm not allowed to go? Chapter 688, Breaking News. _3. That's not what I meant. The old lady Shangguan continued. Your brother and Daya are very happy together, and you as a sister should offer blessings, not create chaos. I know, Shangguan Furong replied. Old lady Shangguan went on. And I have to repeat, keep an eye on Lin Fong. You're so stubborn, and it will be your downfall. Shangguan Furong laughed and said, Mother, you've been saying this all the time. Have you ever considered my feelings? Lin Fong is my best friend. I trust her just as you trust Daya. How would you feel if I continuously spoke ill of Daya in front of you? Shangguan Furong and Lin Fong were very good friends now, and she didn't believe Lin Fong would do anything to harm her. Old lady Shangguan sighed. I'm just saying whether you listen or not is up to you. Shangguan Furong originally planned to stay at the Shangguan family until Anai Tsuehua returned. After all, Anai Tsuehua still had the ice skin jade to give her. But she waited until the afternoon, and Anai Tsuehua had not returned yet. Shangguan Furong no longer had the patience to wait. She planned to play cards with the rich ladies. Now that she had a membership card for Gus Tianxiang, she naturally went to the third floor of Gus Tianxiang to play cards. Not far from the Shangguan household, Shangguan Furong ran into Lin Fong. Sister Furong, where are you going? To play cards. Shangguan Furong answered. Lin Fong said with envy, Having a loving husband is really different. Unlike me, I can only play on my rest days. Where would I find the time to play otherwise? Shangguan Furong laughed smugly. So it's not only about finding a good husband for a woman, but also having the ability to manage the family. Lin Feng nodded. You're right, Sister Furong. I'm envious of capable women like you. I'm simply not like that. Shangguan Furong patted Lin Feng's hand. These things can't be forced. Lin Feng seemed envious on the surface but was scoffing inside. What did Shangguan Furong have to be so smug about? Did she know that Zhao Shen had already betrayed her? It wouldn't be long before Zhao Shen would discard Shangguan Furong like trash. Lin Feng continued, Sister Furong, can I accompany you to play cards and broaden my horizons? Shangguan Furong agreed without a second thought because Lin Feng made such a thoughtful request. The two went to the VIP room on the third floor of Gus Tianxiang. Lin Feng said, Thanks to Sister Furong, it's my first time in such a sophisticated place. Shangguan Furong turned around in surprise. But isn't the membership card from you? Lin Feng laughed a little, then said, Sister Furong, how can I afford such an expensive membership card? Someone gave it to me too. With my status, if you weren't with me, I wouldn't be in such a place. Only you, Sister Furong, can use this membership card. Lin Feng's flattery made Shangguan Furong very happy. As soon as they opened the door of the VIP room, Jia Xinjin, Zhao Yun, and another rich lady had already arrived. Shangguan Furong introduced Lin Feng to everyone. Hello sisters, I am Lin Feng. Please take care of me in the future. Take care of me in the future? That could be interesting. The other three exchanged glances, all seeing confusion in each other's eyes. Lin Feng had excellent social skills, and through her flattery, she quickly became accepted within this inner circle. That evening, Shangguan Furong brought Lin Feng back to the Zhao family. When Zhao Shen saw Lin Feng, he was slightly surprised and seemed somewhat unnatural. This was not Lin Feng's first time at the Zhao family. However, considering what had transpired between the two of them the night before, their encounter now was somewhat awkward. What are you waiting for? Go make some tea for Lin Feng. Shangguan Furong rolled her eyes at Zhao Shen. Shangguan Furong was deliberately showing off her status in the family in front of Lin Feng. Little did she know it's crucial to save face for a man in front of outsiders. Lin Feng swiftly took the teapot from Zhao Shen's hands, her fingers brushing against his palm. She smiled and asked, Why would we need brother-in-law for this? I can do it myself. Sister Furong, do you like sugar in your tea? Shangguan Furong, who was accustomed to domineering and others' compliance, failed to notice anything amiss. No, I like pure green tea. All right. Lin Feng went to make the tea. Chapter 689 Breaking News _4. Old Lady Zhao stood in front of the carved railing on the third floor, watching everything below, her lips curling upwards slightly. All peacetime is born out of the ashes of warfare. It applies to a family as well. Only after experiencing war can one truly understand peace. Otherwise, some people would simply not know how to cherish it. In the evening, Lin Feng stayed for dinner at the Zhao's. All was tranquil at the dinner table, but under it, Lin Feng discreetly kicked Zhao Shen. Zhao Shen, taken aback, looked up only to see Lin Feng's smiling face. Fearing that Shangguan Furong would notice, he quickly resumed eating. You guys carry on, I'm going to the restroom. Lin Feng put down her chopsticks and headed towards the restroom. I'm off for a smoke. Zhao Shen also left the table. As soon as he stepped out of the dining room, someone gently grabbed his wrist. The pair slipped into the storeroom at the end of the corridor. I missed you. In the darkness, they embraced tightly. Across the hallway and around the corner was the dining room, where Shangguan Furong was finishing her meal. She was unaware that her husband and her good friend were in a tight embrace on the other side of the wall. What an irony! After a while, they showed up in the dining room one after the other. After dinner, Lin Feng suggested leaving. To emphasize her status within the Zhao family, Shangguan Furong said, Zhao Shen, drive Lin Feng home. Is it appropriate? Zhao Shen hesitated. Shangguan Furong's face turned cold. Do as you're told. Enough of your nonsense. Zhao Shen nodded silently, picked up the car keys and left. Lin Feng laughed. Sister Furong, You really know how to handle your brother-in-law. Piece of cake. Lin Feng looked extremely pleased. The next morning, Shangguan Furong made another visit to the Shangguan house. As she entered the Shangguan's courtyard, she ran into Enai Tsuehua escorting Su Lian out of the entrance. Furong. Enai Tsuehua took the initiative to greet her. Shangguan Furong responded indifferently with a nod. She was still bothered about Enai Quihua's status. If it wasn't for Shangguan Dihui's infatuation, Enai Tsuehua wouldn't be able to set foot inside the Shangguan residence. At this moment, Shangguan Furong noticed that Su Lian was holding a box of the Supreme Edition Ice Skin Jade Beauty. Wasn't that Ice Skin Jade Beauty something Enai Tsuehua used to curry favor with her? Then why was it now taken away by Su Lian? Shangguan Furong felt extraordinarily upset, as if her precious possession had been stolen. Could it be that Enai Tsuehua had prepared 2 sets? One for Su Lian and the other for her? Lucky Su Lian, despite having nothing to do with the Shangguan family, still managed to gain a benefit here. Shangguan Furong went in with Enai Tsuehua. She waited a long time, had lunch at the Shangguans, but until dinner time when she left, Enai Tsuehua didn't present her with the Supreme Edition Ice Skin Jade Beauty. What's going on? Could it be that Enai Tsuehua had forgotten? Asking for things directly was not Shangguan Furong's style. She had ways to make Enai Tsuehua obediently give them to her. Suppressing her rage, Shangguan Furong left the Shangguans and made Zhaoshan sleep in the study that night. Today was the 14th of November, Mo Kishan's birthday. Enai Yang got up early in the morning. She put on a plain white cheongsam, threw a maroon coat over it, grabbed the gift shed prepared, greeted Enai Tsuehua, and left the house. Yet Enai Yang didn't go directly to Missouri Kishan's place. Instead, she rode her bicycle to the rose garden. Jinghua village had almost 300 acres of rose fields. Since it was winter, the rose garden was covered with plastic sheets to form a greenhouse. There was straw on the outside of the greenhouse to keep the interior warm. Even though it was deep winter, the greenhouse was filled with fiery red roses, an exquisite sight. Yang, why have you come so early? Auntie Lin, who was looking after the greenhouse, was surprised to see Enai Yang. Enai Yang parked her bike and smiled. Auntie Lin, I've come to pick some roses. This patch of roses belonged to Auntie Lin's family. Ever since they planted roses, Auntie Lin had made 200 or 300 yuan. Seeing Enai Yang was like seeing the god of wealth for her. She laughed saying, come in, it's cold outside. Feel free to pick whatever roses you like from the garden. Generally, they would pick roses, weigh them, and deliver them to the Enai family. Enai Yang personally coming over most likely meant she wanted to pick a few roses to put in a vase back home. Just typical of a girl who loved flowers and plants. Enai Yang went inside with Auntie Lin. Chapter 690, Breaking News. _5. Aunt Lin handed Enai Yang a pair of scissors. Yang, just cut whichever one you fancy. Don't stand on ceremony with me. Thank you, Aunt Lin. Enai Yang took the scissors and picked out the roses with the most attractive buds, cutting 36 roses. Then Enai Yang took out 3 colored pieces of plastic paper and a red string from her bag to wrap the roses. Just a bit of wrapping paper dramatically elevated the roses' appeal. Aunt Lin was amazed. Yang, you're truly impressive. Enai Yang laughed. Aunt Lin, it's the roses that are beautiful to begin with. After wrapping the roses, Enai Yang took out a yuan coin from her pocket and gave it to Aunt Lin. She paid 3 cents per pound for the roses in the village. With 36 roses including branches and leaves, it was about 2 to 3 pounds. Aunt Lin refused to take Enai Yang's money. It's just a few roses, Yang. If you insist on paying, wouldn't that belittle me? Enai Yang laughed and said, this is what you make a living from, and I can't just take it for free. Please keep the money, otherwise, I won't have the nerve to come over and pick roses next time. Unable to refuse Enai Yang, Aunt Lin reluctantly took the money. Just 1 yuan is too much. These flowers weigh at most 2 pounds. Yang, you must take the change no matter what. Enai Yang took the change, picked up the roses, and rode her bike to the urban area. Mo Qishan no longer lives at the Mo family home, but in his own villa. Enai Yang rode her bike to Mo Kishan's villa and rang the doorbell. Mo Qishan was not a morning person. It was only 7 o'clock in the morning, and the doorbell woke him up, leaving him in a terrible mood. Who could be at the door? His servants hadn't started working yet, and he didn't like to have strangers stay over, so he had to answer the door himself. Mo Kishin's face was taut, and his thin lips were almost a straight line as he climbed out of bed and threw off the duvet. A strong, intimidating aura radiated from him. A disgruntled boss is not a good thing. When Mo Kishin opened the door with his frosty demeanor, he was met with a bouquet of fiery red roses. Happy birthday, Brother Mo. A face as beautiful as a painting emerged from behind the bouquet. Contrary to the adage, she even put the roses to shame. Instantly, Mo Kishin lost all his temper. He picked up an Yang and asked, Yang, how did you know today is my birthday? An Yang, holding the roses in one hand and wrapping her other arm around Mo Kishin's neck, responded, Didn't you know I can predict the future? Yang, you're brilliant. Mo Kishin, overjoyed, spun an Yang around several times. No one but his parents had ever genuinely remembered his birthday. At this moment, denying his feelings would be a lie. Yang, thank you. Mo Kishin hugged an Yang tightly. Why are you talking nonsense? An Yang returned smiling. By the way, Brother Mo, besides the roses, I prepared another mysterious gift for you. Can you guess what it is? Mo Kishin rubbed his nose. A tie? No. An Yang shook her head. Clothes. An Yang continued shaking her head. Perhaps shoes? An Yang still shook her head. Despite guessing several items, Mo Kishin got them all wrong. An Yang sighed. Brother Mo, you're truly hopeless. Mo Kishin shamelessly responded. I'm dumb, and you're smart. We complement each other perfectly. Only then did an Yang produce a gift she had started preparing months prior. Do you like it? It was a wine-colored knitted scarf. Although it didn't look too attractive, it was warm. I love it. Mo Kishin nodded hastily. Yang, did you make this yourself? An Yang smiled faintly. Finally, a smart guess. It was her first time knitting a scarf. It took over a month of undoing and redoing the knitting to finally finish it. Oddly, she usually picks up things quickly, but knitting scarves was not one of them. Help me put it on. Sure. An Yang nodded, picked up the scarf, stood on tiptoes and said, Just bend down a little. Mo Kishin bent down as instructed, and An Yang effortlessly put the scarf around his neck. But at that moment, a cool touch suddenly grazed the corner of her lips. The scent of tobacco filled her nostrils. Light and pleasant. Just as sudden, he released her. An Yang headed towards the kitchen. Brother Mo, you haven't had breakfast yet, have you? I'll do it. Mo Kishin followed An Yang's footsteps. Mo Kishin felt that as long as he was there, An Yang shouldn't be cooking alone. You're the birthday boy today. How could I let you cook? I'll do it. An Yang pushed Mo Kishin towards the door. Quickly go upstairs and get changed. Once you're dressed, we can eat. Chapter 691. All the stars surround the moon, infinite scenery _6. An Yang shook her head. No, I just like steamed dumplings and tomato noodles. Brother Mo, you've worked hard. I've worked so hard. Shouldn't you reward me a little? Here's a reward for you, a piece of tomato. An Yang casually picked up a piece of cut tomato and stuffed it into Mo Kishin's mouth. Mo Kishin. What he actually wanted was a good morning kiss. The Shengguan family. Today is Ni Kuihua's first morning at the Shengguan family's house. Although she didn't go to bed until very late last night, she still woke up early in the morning. Today is her first day staying over at the Shengguans. If she were to oversleep, it might not make a great impression. Anai Tsuehua pulled away the covers and quietly got out of bed, when Shengguan Dahue beside her suddenly woke up. Why are you up so early? Anai Tsuehua blushed momentarily. It's already past 7. Sleep a little longer, continued Shengguan Dahue. You can rest assured. Our family doesn't have strict rules. If you get up too early, it might make my mom feel like she did something wrong. Shengguan Dahue didn't give Anai Tsuehua a chance to hesitate. When Anai Tsuehua woke up again, it was already past 10 in the morning. Sunlight shone in from outside the window, and a tall man was standing at the foot of her bed, getting dressed. First the dress shirt, then the wool sweater. Enai Tsuehua watched all this happening, then looked out the window again, and suddenly felt like she was in a dream. She couldn't even have dreamed that her life in Beijing would take such a drastic turn. Up already. At this moment, Shangguan Dehui suddenly turned around. Enai Tsuehua was caught off guard at first, then she said, "Mm." Shangguan Dehui took a few steps forward. "Do you want to get up now or sleep a little longer?" "I'll get up now." Enai Tsuehua answered. Shangguan Dehui took out clothes from the cabinet for her. "I'll wait for you to go downstairs together." "Okay." Enai Tsuehua nodded. Then she took the clothes to the bathroom to change. After changing and taking care of her skin, she emerged from the bathroom about 20 minutes later. She was wearing a high-necked wool sweater inside a gray-blue down jacket, which made her look very stylish and much younger than she actually was. They both went downstairs together. As soon as they got downstairs, they saw Lady Shangguan leading little Enai Yin inside from outside. The old and the young got along very well. In fact, little Enai Yin had spent last night with Lady Shangguan. "Mom," they both greeted Lady Shangguan in unison. According to the local customs, they should start addressing her differently after the engagement. Shangguan's old lady walked up to them smiling happily and satisfied. "Good. Mama." Seeing Enai Tsuehua, little Enai Yin very coolly greeted her. "Yin Yin." Enai Tsuehua walked over and picked up little Enai Yin. "Daddy, hold me." Little Enai Yin stretched out his hand to Shangguan Dehui. Shangguan Dehui took little Enai Yin from Enai Kuihua's arms. Old Lady Shangguan looked at the harmonious scene in front of her, beaming with satisfaction. She then said, "Breakfast is ready, let's go have breakfast. Also, Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi have gone to work, Dia don't mind." Enai Tsuehua laughed and said, "It's okay, work is important." She usually gets along well with the kids and doesn't overthink things, because she knows Xiaoxiu and Xiaoxi aren't those kinds of people. Meanwhile, elsewhere, when Zhaoshan woke up, he could hardly believe what had happened last night, but the sight of Lin Feng lying next to him reminded him that the events were not a dream. He really did something that would let Shangguan Furong down. He didn't know what he had been thinking last night, but now, he was deeply regretful. What should he do now? How should he face Shangguan Furong? Just then Lin Feng suddenly reached out and hugged him. "Do you regret it?" When did Lin Feng wake up? Zhaoshan was taken aback. Lin Feng continued, "I don't regret it." After a pause she said, "If you do regret it, we can pretend that nothing happened. Don't worry, I won't pester you." With that Lin Feng let go of Zhaoshan. Zhaoshan opened his mouth, suddenly at a loss for words, as he didn't know what to say at the moment. "Rest assured, I keep my word," Lin Feng continued. "I'll compensate you," Zhaoshan finally said after a long pause. The only thing he could do now was to compensate Lin Feng. "I don't want your compensation," said Lin Feng. "Zhaoshan, do you know? I really envy Sister Furong. I envy her for having such a good husband like you. The universe is really playing a joke on us. She has you, but she doesn't know how to cherish you. I want to cherish you, but I can't have you." Her tone was full of mockery by the end of it. "Xiaolin you," Zhaoshan closed his eyes, then continued, "We can't continue making mistakes." Lin Feng turned around to look at Zhaoshan. "Is love a mistake too?" Zhaoshan fell silent. Lin Feng let out a sigh, raised the blanket and got out of bed, picked up the clothes from the floor and started to put them on one by one. Then she picked up Zhaoshan's clothes. "Do you want to get up now? I can help you." Zhaoshan took his clothes. "I can do it myself." "But I want to help you." Lin Feng helped Zhaoshan get dressed and put on his socks, even helped him put on his shoes and tie his shoelaces. "Did Sister Furong ever help you like this?" "No, of course not. Such a domineering person like Shangguan Furong. When did she ever lower her head?" In their relationship, Zhaoshan was the one who always made the sacrifice. Zhaoshan never knew that not having to give all the time could be so enjoyable. All of a sudden, it seemed like he wasn't that regretful anymore. After all, Shangguan Furong acted out of line first. Lin Feng was sweet and considerate, much more so than Shangguan Furong. Seeing Zhaoshan's changing expressions, Lin Feng smiled smugly. Then Lin Feng continued, "This is probably the first time I helped you, and it will also be the last time. I won't go to your house again, and I won't go to find Sister Furong." These words were a catalyst. Xiaoshan looked at Lin Feng and said very firmly, I don't regret. That's right. He didn't regret it. Shangguan Furong didn't even notice that Xiaoshan didn't return home last night. In fact, over the years, she had just been living her life carelessly, and never cared for Xiaoshan at all. Mom, these fried dough sticks seem a bit old. Because Shangguan Furong loved the fried dough sticks made by Lady Zhao. Every morning's breakfast was personally prepared by her. The old lady was getting old and couldn't bear the kitchen fumes, but Shangguan Furong didn't appear to care about these things. She only cared about her own enjoyment. Chapter 692 Breaking News _6 Mo Qishan was led upstairs by Inai Yang. In the kitchen, Inai Yang prepared to cook some longevity noodles. Soon, a bowl of tasty longevity noodles was ready. The accompaniments included an egg, some greens, with a rich pork broth that made everything so delicious. Just as Inai Yang had set the longevity noodles on the table, Mo Qishan, having changed his clothes, came down from upstairs. Brother Mo, come and eat. Yang, aren't you eating? Mo Qishan saw only one bowl of longevity noodles on the table. I already ate at home. Inai Yang said. Mo Qishan went to the kitchen and got another pair of chopsticks. Yang, shall we eat together? Inai Yang, although already full, nodded, sure. This was a small pleasure unique to couples. Such moments would be sweet memories in their old age. After breakfast, the two washed the dishes together and played around for a while, before heading to the Mo family. Mo Qishan biked with her. Yang, don't we look like a young couple going home to visit parents on a holiday? Mr. Mo, please have some shame. Inai Yang was nestled against him. I never said I would marry you. Mo Qishan laughed and looked into the distance. No problem, I can marry you instead. Inai Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. You're good with being a live-in son-in-law? Mo Qishan nodded seriously, yes. As long as Inai Yang was willing to marry him, let alone accepting the role of live-in son-in-law. Even if he had to go through hell and back, he would not hesitate. Live-in son-in-law. What's that? A piece of cake. Inai Yang stroked her chin. I'll think about it. Boss, when can you give me an answer? Mo Qishan asked again. Depends on the mood. Inai Yang replied. The sun gradually rose higher, the golden warmth filled the earth. Even the chilly wind became more bearable. Before long, they arrived at the Mo family's villa. The two of them walked in hand. Mo's grandmother immediately ran out to hug Inai Yang. Yang is here. Today was Mo Qishan's birthday. The elderly couple knew that Inai Yang would certainly come home with Mo Qishan, so they had been waiting at home early. Auntie. At the side, Mo Qishan might as well have turned into a mass of unattended air. There was a time when he was his grandma's precious child too, but ever since Inai Yang appeared, he had become a worthless piece of metal. Even his grandfather chose to selectively ignore Mo Qishan. Yang, isn't it cold outside? Come here, I made a special milk tea for you. Have a taste and see if it's good? What do you mean you made it? I handmade those pearls in it. Grandma Mo was displeased with Grandpa Mo claiming all the credit. If it weren't for me, the milk tea would have been burnt long ago. Mo Qishan. Boil milk tea and make pearls? He never knew his parents were so versatile. Upon the enthusiastic invitation by Grandpa and Grandma Mo, Inai Yang ended up drinking 2 whole cups of milk tea. Downstairs was bustling. Mo Baichuan was standing on the 3rd floor. A trace of sarcasm crept up on his face. Cousin, isn't that Inai Yang? And the person sitting next to Inai Yang, isn't that your 6th uncle? Xiao Yingying asked uncertainly. Mo Qishan often stayed away from home, and Xiao Yingying hadn't met him. She had only heard of his reputation. However, she had seen Inai Yang once at the Mo family last time. Yes. Mo Baichuan nodded. Xiao Yingying then asked. Is that the loser? Mo Baichuan nodded again. Xiao Yingying looked disgustingly downward. Even if he's a loser, why are your grandparents so happy? Normally, if a family has a loser son, wouldn't it be cause for sadness? Xiao Yingying was somewhat confused. Mo Baichuan explained. My 6th uncle is their youngest child. Usually, the youngest one is the most cherished. Xiao Yingying nodded. By the way, cousin, when are you going to take me to meet Mr. Mog? She had been staying in the Mo family for quite some time, but hadn't met anyone who could be Mr. Mog yet. She had asked Grandpa and Grandma Mo about him, but both of them said they didn't know, and it didn't seem like they were pretending. Mo Baichuan then said, "You go down and greet them." Xiao Yingying frowned slightly. "Who wants to greet a loser? I'm going back to my room to sleep." Mo Baichuan continued, "Don't forget, you're still living in my grandparents' house. Isn't this place yours and uncle's?" Xiao Yingying asked. Mo Baichuan shook his head. Reluctantly, Xiao Yingying had to greet them. She had no choice. Who asked her to be under others' roof? "By the way, cousin, are you going out?" Xiao Yingying turned and looked at Mo Baichuan. "Yes." Xiao Yingying's eyes lit up. "Cousin, are you going to see Mr. Mog? I want to go with you." Mo Baichuan reluctantly said, "I am going to pick up my girlfriend." Mo Qishan was back. And Na Young was here too. Such a situation naturally couldn't be without Zhao Jingrong, his former fiancé. He refused to believe that Mo Qishan could still stay calm upon seeing Zhao Jingrong. And when Na Young found out that Zhao Jingrong was his girlfriend, she would definitely mess up. He was looking forward to seeing Mo Qishan and Na Yang's reactions later. "You have a girlfriend?" Xiao Yingying looked suspiciously at Mo Baichuan. "Yes." Mo Baichuan nodded. Xiao Yingying didn't believe that Mo Baichuan had found a girlfriend so quickly. He must be secretly meeting Mr. Mog. "Then I'll go with you." Xiao Yingying hooked her arm around Mo Baichuan's, just in time to see what my future sister-in-law looks like too. "Yingying, don't be ridiculous." Mo Baichuan frowned slightly. Xiao Yingying smiled and said, "I'm not." Mo Baichuan had no choice but to take Xiao Yingying with him. When she saw Mo Baichuan's girlfriend, Xiao Yingying was also taken aback. She didn't expect the other party to be Zhao Jingrong. But wasn't she supposed to be Mo Qishan's former fiancé? The relationships were seriously messed up. The three of them came to the Mo family together. When Grandma and Grandpa Mo saw Zhao Jingrong, they were both dumbfounded. What was going on? Zhao Jingrong smiled. "Hello, Grandpa and Grandma." Grandpa and Grandma Mo became even more confused. Mo Baichuan took the lead. "Grandpa, Grandma, sixth uncle, future sixth aunt, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Zhao Jingrong." The words were like a bomb. The shock had Grandpa and Grandma Mo questioning if they were hearing things. "What did you say?" Grandma Mo was the first to react. Before Mo Baichuan could respond, Zhao Jingrong stepped forward. "Grandma, you heard right. I am now Baichuan's girlfriend." Chapter 693. Abuse Shengguan Furong. "I want to divorce you. _1 girlfriend? Zhao Jingrong is actually Mo Baichuan's girlfriend? What kind of joke is this?" Madame Mo looked at Zhao Jingrong in front of her, so angry that she wanted to slap Mo Baichuan. Put aside what type of person Zhao Jingrong is, just the fact that she was previously engaged to Mo Qishan. He should not be getting involved with her. Old Master Mo was also very angry, pointing at Mo Baichuan and asked, "What's going on?" Mo Baichuan, however, was very calm. "Exactly what you see. I like Jingrong, and Jingrong likes me too." "Bastard." Old Master Mo clutching his heart, nearly passing out as he gasped for breath. "Break up. You two need to break up immediately." Zhao Jingrong earnestly said, "Grandpa, Baichuan and I are genuinely in love. Please bless us." Genuinely in love. Madame Mo looked at Zhao Jingrong. "If I'm not wrong, back then, you said that in this lifetime you would marry no one but Mr. Mog. And now they talk about genuinely in love. What a joke." Zhao Jingrong's expression changed. "Grandma, I was young then and spoke without thinking. Please don't hold that against me. Baichuan and I truly are in love. Please grant us your blessing." Where was the love between her and Mo Baichuan? They were merely using each other. Zhao Jingrong wanted to marry Mr. Mog, and Mo Baichuan just wanted to aggravate Na Yang and Mo Qishan. However, the usually astute and smart Zhao Jingrong could not have imagined that she had placed her bets on the wrong man. As she said her last words, Zhao Jingrong pulled Mo Baichuan with her onto the floor, kneeling down together. Mo Baichuan subtly glanced at Na Yang. There was no special expression on his face. Same with Mo Kishin's reaction. It was rather bland. This wasn't quite what he had expected. Were they pretending? From the start to the end, Zhao Jingrong didn't deign to give Mo Qixin a single extra glance. She didn't need to see his face to know that he must be very shocked. He must not have thought that she would end up with Mo Baichuan. Wait. Couldn't Mo Qixin be trying to use this opportunity to deliberately cause trouble between her and Mo Baichuan? After all, Mo Qixin still loved her deeply. With this in mind, Zhao Jingrong started to feel a bit anxious. Old Master Mo and Madame Mo, who were so fond of the worthless Mo Qixin, would make things difficult if Mo Qixin tried to cause trouble. With this thought, Zhao Jingrong squinted her eyes, a touch of worry flitting across her gaze. Dad, Mom. Just then, Mo Qixin weakly piped up. Did Mo Qixin really want to stop her from being with Mo Baichuan? Zhao Jingrong raised her head to look at Mo Qixin. She knew it. Mo Qixin couldn't forget her. He clearly underestimated the situation, still thinking he could pry her and Mo Baichuan apart at this stage. Zhao Jingrong spoke before Mo Qixin could. Grandma, Grandpa, I know you are mindful of my previous engagement with Mo Qixin, but that was an arranged engagement. I didn't like him at all. There wasn't even a shred of affection. But it's different with Baichuan. Our love is free. We truly adore each other. Zhao Jingrong's words were passionate, so much so that the rims of her eyes reddened. What was Mo Qixin? He simply wasn't worthy of her. It was with great difficulty that she managed to call off their engagement. She couldn't let Mo Qixin hinder her now. Mo Baichuan casually lifted his eyes and looked at Mo Qixin. He knew it, Zhao Jingrong wouldn't let him down. What followed was a big charade. Next second, Mo Qixin continued. Dad, Mom, since Baichuan and Miss Zhao are genuinely in love, why not bless them instead of making things difficult for the loving couple? What? Mo Qixin actually pleaded on their behalf? What's going on? He should be objecting to their relationship, right? Zhao Jingrong was a bit stunned. Mo Baichuan was also slightly taken aback. This was a bit different from what he had anticipated. It must be said, the reactions of Ni Yang and Mo Qixin were somewhat beyond his expectations. Old Master Mo stayed silent, his eyebrows furrowed deeply. In all his years, he had never seen something like this. The nephew actually ended up with his uncle's fiancée. If word of this got out, wouldn't it just be a laughingstock? Come with me to the study. Old Master Mo looked at Mo Baichuan. Mo Baichuan rose from the ground and followed Old Master Mo's footsteps. When he entered the study, Mo Baichuan thought Old Master Mo was about to lose his temper. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 694. Misery. Shengguan Furong, I want to divorce you. Under 3. Oddly enough, the old Master Mo didn't lose his temper, but instead pointed to the chair and said, sit down. Mo Baichuan took a seat on the chair. With his back to him, Old Master Mo heaved a sigh and then asked, Baichuan, have you really made up your mind? Yes, grandfather, Mo Baichuan replied. I've decided. He never made decisions he would regret later. Now that he had crossed this threshold, he wouldn't turn back. There are so many girls in Beijing. Why did you choose Zhao Jingrong of all people? Old Master Mo turned to look at Mo Baichuan. Do you realize that Zhao Jingrong could have almost been your aunt by marriage? In ancient times, this would have been punishable by submersion in a pig cage. By the time he said that last sentence, Old Master Mo could hardly control his volume. But you said it yourself, it was almost the case. Mo Baichuan said calmly. Zhao Jingrong and I are of the same age. She comes from a good family, and she has a master's degree from abroad. I don't see what's wrong between us. Grandfather, the past is the past, we have to live in the present. Zhao Jingrong was only betrothed to Mo Qixin. They weren't actually married. At this moment, the old mistress Mo walked in from outside. Do you know what kind of person Zhao Jingrong is? She's vain and doesn't deserve you. The old mistress Mo absolutely didn't like Zhao Jingrong. If she weren't so vain, she wouldn't have broken off her engagement with Mo Qixin. It's not that Jingrong is vain, it's because my uncle couldn't hold on to her. Mo Baichuan continued. If I were in her place, I wouldn't want to marry someone like my uncle either. Who would want to marry a worthless man? The old mistress was so furious that she was shaking all over. Old Master Mo sighed again, and then said, Baichuan, are you sure about this? Yes. Mo Baichuan nodded. I've decided. Old Master Mo continued saying, well, since you're sure, there is no point in our talking anymore. You can go now. Old man. The old mistress Mo grabbed the old master's sleeve. Let him go. Old Master Mo sighed again. The fortune of sons and grandsons depends on themselves. Mo Chishan doesn't mind. We should avoid overstepping our boundaries. Stretching out one's hand too far tends to make them disliked. If they end up together, won't outsiders laugh at our family? Said the old mistress Mo. Old Master Mo squinted his eyes. If the Zhao family doesn't fear losing face, why should the Mo family? Today, if it weren't for Zhao Jingrong prostrating on the ground and begging me, I wouldn't have agreed. Upon hearing this, the old mistress felt a bit better. Right. This time it was Zhao Jingrong who took the initiative, not the Mo family begging for her hand in marriage. If outsiders are going to laugh, they'll laugh at the Zhao family's lack of discipline. Old Master Mo continued. Besides, they're just dating right now. Whether they will end up together is still uncertain. The old mistress Mo nodded in agreement. Mo Baichuan walked into the living room and helped Zhao Jingrong up from the ground. Somehow worried, Zhao Jingrong asked, why did you come out? How about grandfather and grandmother? Don't worry. Mo Baichuan said. They have agreed to our relationship. The volume of his voice seemed just right to let Mo Chishan and Yang hear. What a pity. The two were like they hadn't heard anything. They sat on the couch, whispering to each other and smiling. Clearly, their laughter was heartfelt. Zhao Jingrong was Mo Chishan's former fiancé. Wasn't Yang bothered by it at all? And Mo Chishan, he didn't react at all to his former fiancé being with his nephew, Jingrong. Mo Baichuan turned to look at Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong looked at him bewildered. What? Let me introduce you. This is my uncle's girlfriend Yang. Mo Baichuan brought Zhao Jingrong in front of the two. Zhao Jingrong laughed and said, I had already met Miss Anai once before. The last time in the restaurant, Yang had ridiculed her quite a lot. Mo Chishan said, Yang is now my girlfriend. You two are the younger generation, and should call Yang, and according to our family hierarchy. Calling her Miss Anai doesn't sound right. Your uncle is right. Old Mistress Mo chimed in from the other side. Zhao Jingrong had thought that when Mo Chishan saw her, he would be unwilling to let go and cling to her relentlessly. But Mo Chishan had surprised her time and time again. Is he trying to get her attention on purpose? Calling her aunt? Yang looked even younger than her. And the last time at the Western restaurant, they had a falling out. She couldn't bring herself to call Yang aunt. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 695. Tormenting Shangguan Furong. I want to divorce you. _3. Everyone says that your Zhao family is a prestigious family that attaches great importance to etiquette and upbringing. Now when you meet an elder, you can't even greet them properly. What kind of daughter have your parents raised? Mrs. Mo did not give Zhao Jingrong any face with these words, even cursing Zhao's parents. Zhao Jingrong bit her lip. She knew that Mrs. Mo did not like her, but she didn't expect that Mrs. Mo would be so unsparing. Forget it. Isn't it just a matter of greeting someone? As long as she can successfully marry Mo Baichuan, she is willing to do anything. The day when she becomes Mrs. Mog, there will be plenty of time for them to regret. Zhao Jingrong reacted and said, Sixth aunt. Yang nodded with a smile and said gracefully, good girl. Zhao Jingrong was so angry. This feeling of being lower in rank was suffocating. Thankfully, Mo Baichuan holds a high status. Before getting close to Mo Baichuan, Zhao Jingrong did some research on Yang. She knew that Mo Baichuan had offered Yang an olive branch. But Yang rejected Mo Baichuan. Yang was really blind. She actually rejected Mo Baichuan for a worthless man. I wonder if she will regret it when she knows the true identity of Mo Baichuan. By then, she'd regret it until her guts turn green. Thinking about this, Zhao Jingrong was jubilant. All the frustration vanished. As long as she could marry Mr. Mog, what would a bit of humiliation matter? What about you? Mo Qishan looked up at Mo Baichuan. Sixth aunt. Mo Baichuan reluctantly called out. Good. Na Yang nodded in satisfaction, completely uplifting the posture of an elder. Speaking of which, Mo Qishan's family ranking is really high. Going by this calculation, when Mo Baichuan gets married and has children, won't she become a great aunt? Then she would undoubtedly be the youngest, most beautiful great aunt in history. Brother Mo, let's go upstairs. I want to play games in your room. Na Yang turned her eyes to Mo Qishan. Zhao Jingrong was after all Mo Qishan's ex-fiancé, and Mo Baichuan was suspicious. Na Yang simply couldn't put up with being in the same room with them. It always felt a bit strange. Sure. The two headed upstairs, leaving only Mo Baichuan and Zhao Jingrong, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Mo. Mrs. Mo said, Dear, let's go to the kitchen to take a look. With Na Yang and Mo Qishan gone, the two old people also did not want to face Zhao Jingrong. The two old people went to the kitchen together. In the blink of an eye, only Mo Baichuan and Zhao Jingrong were left in the living room. They looked at each other in silence. The atmosphere was somewhat awkward. Shall we watch TV? After a long while, Mo Baichuan finally blurted out this sentence. The situation today was really beyond his expectations. His mind was still in disarray. Yes. Zhao Jingrong nodded. After turning on the TV, the two of them sat on the couch watching TV. Even though their thoughts had already drifted far away, just going through the motion. Upstairs, Mo Qishan and Na Yang sat in front of the TV playing games, and cheerful laughter echoed from the screen. At dinner time, Lin Pingping specifically came back from work to celebrate Mo Qishan's birthday, and she also brought back a cake. Not only did Lin Pingping come back, but even Song Beiqing returned. After all, Mo Qishan was his uncle. Na Yang, you're still with my Uncle Six? Seeing Na Yang, Song Beiqing was surprised. Na Yang was so beautiful, and Mo Qishan had a bad reputation. He thought their relationship wouldn't last long. Who would have thought? Watch your language? Na Yang gave him a white glance. Call me sixth aunt. Na Yang is 9 years younger than him. Calling her aunt. He really couldn't bring himself to do it. Beiqing. Mo Qishan gave him a cold glance. Didn't you hear your sixth aunt's command? Although everyone said his Uncle Six is a good-for-nothing, Song Beiqing felt nervous every time he saw Mo Qishan, very strange. And this feeling came from the bottom of his heart. Sixth aunt. Under tremendous stress, Song Beiqing finally managed to set it. Good. Na Yang nodded happily. Hey, isn't that Zhao Jingrong? Why is she with third brother? Only then did Song Beiqing notice Mo Baichuan and Zhao Jingrong. Na Yang responded lightly, That's your third sister-in-law. Third sister-in-law? Song Beiqing was stunned. Lin Pingping was also stunned. You mean Zhao Jingrong? Zhao Jingrong is with third brother? Song Beiqing eagerly asked. Yes. Na Yang nodded. Song Beiqing looked stunned. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 696. Abusing Shangguan Furong. I want to divorce you. _4. Oh my gosh. Isn't this a total mess? Lin Pingping followed up. What's going on? Well, Na Yan raised her eyebrows slightly. Sister Pingping, you should ask the people involved. From an observer's standpoint, there was certainly no love between these two people. It must be a mutual arrangement. But Na Yan could only speculate and didn't want to say more. Who knew what kind of act these two were putting on? Lin Pingping and Song Beiqing approached them. After finding out that Zhao Jingrong and Mo Baichuan were dating, Lin Pingping and Song Beiqing were genuinely surprised. Song Beiqing quietly pulled Mo Baichuan aside and whispered, Third brother, are you really involved with Zhao Jingrong? Mo Baichuan slightly nodded. Song Beiqing continued, Third brother, don't you think this is somewhat inappropriate? What's inappropriate? Mo Baichuan asked knowingly. Song Beiqing said. Zhao Jingrong, she once had a relationship with Uncle Six. Mo Baichuan remained calm. That's all in the past. Beiqing, don't be so narrow-minded. It was only an engagement, nothing to be concerned about. With Mo Baichuan's words settling the issue, Song Beiqing didn't say anything more, just asking, do uncle and auntie know about this? Mo Baichuan responded, they don't know yet, but I have a way of getting their approval. If Mr. and Mrs. Mo won't object, then Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao wouldn't stand a chance of doing so. As long as you've thought this through. Song Beiqing patted Mo Baichuan's shoulder. Although Lin Pingping was shocked too, she didn't say much. After all, it was Mo family's affairs and she was just Mrs. Mo's niece. At this point, she deemed it inappropriate to say more. After the meal, everyone sat around conversing. Lin Pingping suggested, the weather's nice today. Why don't we all go to the racetrack for a few laps? Beijing has a large racecourse that caters to the rich for their amusement. The racetrack wasn't far from the Mo family's domicile. Sounds great. Zhao Jingrong nodded in agreement. Equestrianism is an aristocratic sport, so someone like N.I. Yen, who hails from the countryside, surely wouldn't know how to ride. Thus, she planned to shine in front of everyone. I also think it's a good idea. Xiao Yingying was naturally playful. Fortunately, Song Beiqing happened to be present today. If she couldn't hook up with Mr. Mog, Song Beiqing was a pretty good choice too. Although he couldn't compare with Mr. Mog, Song Beiqing was the sole descendant of the Song family. Moreover, Song Beiqing was handsome, and from what you could tell, he had great potential. Having an extra spare tire wasn't a bad choice either. Yang, how about you? Lin Pingping looked at N.I. Yen. I'm okay with that. It feels like ages since she last rode a horse. What about you, big brother Mo? If you're okay, then I'm okay, Mo Qishan said. Uncle and auntie, would you two want to join the fun? Lin Pingping then turned to Mr. and Mrs. Mo. Even though this old couple was not as young as they used to be, they had experienced real battlefield when they were young. Mrs. Mo glanced at Mr. Mo. Why not join in for the fun? Okay, Mr. Mo nodded. It's rare that all the kids are home today. They all headed to the racetrack. Mo Qishan took N.I. Yen to change her clothes. Men always change faster than women. When Mo Qishan came out after changing his clothes, N.I. Yen was still in the changing room. Soon everyone met up at the horse arena. At the arena, Mo Baichuan ran into a few classmates, so they all decided to go horse riding together. Of course, the more people, the merrier the horse riding. Mo Qishan led N.I. Yen over from the other side. N.I. Yen's appearance undoubtedly attracted everyone's attention. She usually dressed in cheongsams, so now dressed in a sleek riding outfit she looked radiant. She radiated majesty and stunning beauty. She was incredibly eye-catching. In her British-style riding outfit, a white shirt with a blue vest, and a pair of leather boots hugging her slender legs, she moved with plenty of gusto. Seeing everyone was staring at his wife, Mo Qishan suddenly regretted agreeing to come to the racetrack. At that moment, all Mo Qishan wanted to do was to fold N.I. Yen up like a tortilla, put her in his pocket, and forbid anyone from peeking at her. Xiao Yingying had originally thought she would be the most good-looking one in riding gear, and she had just been parading around in front of everyone, indeed attracting a few gazes. But upon seeing N.I. Yen, Xiao Yingying instantly gave up that thought. She even started feeling a bit inferior. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 697. Abuse Shangguan Furong, I want to divorce you. _5. This self-employed woman, really annoying to no end. Zhao Jingrong squinted her eyes. This N.I. Yang, lacking in ability, sure knows how to play the part. What use is beauty? Can beauty stand in for equestrian skills? The coach led over a few horses for everyone to choose from. These horses were all raised here by the Mo family. I'll take this one. Zhao Jingrong picked a tall and majestic horse looking towards N.I. Yang. N.I. Aunt 6, beginners shouldn't choose horses with too tempestuous a temperament. I think that one might suit you better. Zhao Jingrong pointed at a small pony half the height of a man, continuing, this pony has a gentle temperament, perfect for beginners. Her words seemed to be for In-Yang benefit. But in reality, she was mocking In-Yang. No need. In-Yang led a black horse by its reins. I can ride. She can ride? Zhao Jingrong felt like she was witnessing a magnificent joke. In-Yang can ride? This pitiful self-employed woman can ride a horse? You're bragging somewhere else. Before Zhao Jingrong had a chance to respond, Xiao Yingying jumped in. Since Miss and I can ride, how about a little friendly competition? The spotlight of the horse riding show had been snatched away by In-Yang, and now, Xiao Yingying was keen to bring it back to herself. Equestrianism, she had trained for. She aimed to defeat In-Yang. In-Yang gave a faint smile, looking at Xiao Yingying with sparkling eyes. How do you propose we compete? Xiao Yingying pointed at the racetrack. We'll use this as the finish line. We go through these obstacles, first one to reach wins. The obstacles were set in a U-shape. After a full round, the finish line was the same as the starting point. The obstacles were extremely challenging. For ordinary people, it could take 20 minutes to finish. But for Xiao Yingying, 10 minutes was more than enough. When the time comes, she would certainly shine. Okay. In-Yang nodded slightly. Zhao Jingrong's relationship with Xiao Yingying was quite good, and knowing that Xiao Yingying didn't like In-Yang either, she was happy to have someone else to suppress In-Yang together, and purposefully asked, Yingying, how long do you need to get through these obstacles? 10 minutes. Xiao Yingying answered. On hearing this, the surrounding gasped. 10 minutes. If Xiao Yingying truly could complete the obstacles in 10 minutes, she would stand as a woman of gallantry. Aunt 6, what about you? Zhao Jingrong looked at In-Yang. In-Yang absent-mindedly put on her white gloves. That's hard to say. She hadn't practiced for so long. Zhao Jingrong's eyes were full of mockery. These obstacles weren't easy to get through. When In-Yang falls off the horse, it will be a fun sight. Are you ready? Let's start. Xiao Yingying climbed onto the horse, looking down at In-Yang with disdain. Ready. In-Yang tugs the reins about to mount. Her foot slipped, and she almost fell over. Indeed, she had grown rusty. In-Yang sighed softly. All of this was seen by Zhao Jingrong. She knew all along, In-Yang definitely can't ride a horse. She's finally going to make a fool of herself. Aunt 6, be careful, this horse is so high, it's no joke if you really fall. Zhao Jingrong eyes filled with schadenfreude. Actually, I really think that little pony suits you. In-Yang rubbed her chin. This horse seems to be a bit wary of strangers. But it didn't matter, she had ways to control it. At her words, Zhao Jingrong's face humorously broke into a sneer. She actually had the cheek to say that. Shameless. Xiao Yingying had a great start, clearing several obstacles, and leaving In-Yang far behind. Xiao Yingying looked back at In-Yang, her face full of smug smiles. What's In-Yang? A country bumpkin trying to steal her spotlight? The horse In-Yang chose was very fiery, a few times even seeming to buck In-Yang off, causing everyone to gasp in fear. Uncle 6, aren't you worried about Aunt 6? Song Beicheng whispered to Emo Qishan. Emo Qishan's gaze was locked on the figure on the racetrack. Why the rush? It only just began. Xiao Yingying had already completed 1/3 of the obstacles. Seeing In-Yang almost getting bucked off the horse, she began to laugh triumphantly. Just then, Xiao Yingying felt a gust of wind rushing past her side. Its speed so fast it left only a shadow. The air echoed with the clippity-clop of horse hooves. Looking back in disbelief at the sound of horse hooves, Xiao Yingying saw no sign of In-Yang behind her. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 698. Abusing Shengguan Furong, I want to divorce you. _6. Was that fleeting figure In-Yang? No way. Xiao Yingying's face turned a bit pale as she spurred her horse to catch up. But the other party was too quick. My God, she jumped over 2 obstacles. She's standing up on the horse. This is too amazing. Everyone had thought that In-Yang was not adept at riding horses, but this stunning performance was truly a surprise. Even professional coaches might not have such skill. Everyone's eyes were glued to the figure on the field. afraid of missing any exciting part of her performance. Unconsciously, everyone overlooked Xiao Yingying, because she was simply not in Anai Yang's league. Compared to Anai Yang, she could at best be considered someone who knew how to ride a horse. Anai Yang, on the other hand, had set forth a spectacle that thrilled everyone. Mo Baichuan watched the figure on the field with narrowed eyes. It has to be said, Anai Yang was truly attractive in this state. Zhao Jingrong glanced at Mo Baichuan, her eyes slightly tensed. She had never imagined that Anai Yang would know how to ride a horse, and to master it so incredibly. It really turned out to be a futile attempt. Anai Yang greatly enjoyed this sense of carefree thrill, riding at full speed whilst her adrenaline surged. Before everyone could react, Anai Yang had already crossed 2 deadly turns and reached the finish line. Anai Yang tightened the reins and directly jumped off the saddle, her flying black hair gracefully scarring the air as she landed. The entire event took her less than 3 minutes. It far outmatched Xiao Yingying's 10 minutes. Good. Old Master Mo led the applause. In response, everyone also started clapping. Anai Yang walked towards Mo Qishan. This competition was undoubtedly a loss for Xiao Yingying, and it was a humiliating loss. She just couldn't figure out how she could lose to a country bumpkin. After the competition, everyone went their own way. Zhao Jingrong had wanted to make Anai Yang embarrass herself further, but after witnessing this, she dared not act rashly. Mo Baichuan's classmate, Shuezhen, asked, "Bro, what's that girl's name?" "Don't even think about it, she's my 6th uncle's girlfriend." Mo Baichuan calmly replied. Shuezhen continued, "Such a great girl. Is she really into your 6th uncle?" Mo Baichuan did not respond. Yes. With Anai Yang being so outstanding, how could she possibly be interested in Mo Qishan? Shuezhen continued. "Bro, just tell me her name. Once it works out, I'll treat you a drink. Don't daydream." Mo Baichuan glanced at Shuezhen. Even if Anai Yang had ulterior motives with wine, it wouldn't be about Shuezhen. He always has a way to make Anai Yang feel anxious. Mo Baichuan looked up again, only to see Anai Yang had somehow climbed up, and was now riding the same horse as Mo Qishan. Anai Yang was sitting in Mo Qishan's embrace, and the horse was strolling leisurely in the field. The setting sun cast a gentle layer of golden light over them, creating a beautiful scene. It hurt Mo Baichuan's eyes. It stung a lot. At this moment, Zhao Jingrong held Mo Baichuan's hand. "Baichuan, shall we go horse riding too?" "All right." Mo Baichuan nodded. Time passed quickly, and a month had gone in the blink of an eye. During this time, the weather had become much colder. Today, Shangguan Furong had arranged to go to the movies with her girlfriends. As she was getting ready to leave, a servant handed her a note. "Who gave this to you?" Shangguan Furong frowned. The servant said, "He was wearing a hat. I couldn't see his face clearly, but he seemed quite old." Shangguan Furong nodded. Upon opening the note, it read, "Come to 27 New Village Villas immediately." New Village Villa number 27? Isn't that owned by the Zhao family? What's there? Though Shangguan Furong had initially intended to dismiss the note, curiosity drove her to go to the New Village Villa. The villa's front door was open. Could there be someone inside? Shangguan Furong slightly frowned. She rarely stayed at this villa, though there would be a servant to maintain the place regularly. Perhaps it's one of the servants? Without further thought, Shangguan Furong walked in. The sound of her high heels echoed, clack, clack on the floor. Inside the room, Zhaoshan snapped to attention when he heard the sound. He quickly got out of bed and grabbed the first piece of clothing he could find to put on. "What are you doing?" Lin Fong was awakened by Zhao Shun's sudden movements. Zhao Shun, looking nervous, replied, "I think I heard something. Could it be Furong? Afraid of her?" Lin Fong sneered. Lin Fong interjected, "Don't worry. It's probably not her. It might be the cleaning crew. Get back under the covers before you catch a cold." "Okay." Zhao Shun seemed soothed and laid back down in bed. Lin Fong snuggled into Zhao Shun's arms, a smug smile playing on her lips. Why wouldn't the person outside be Shangguan Furong? The next second, the door was pushed open. "Squeak, Sister Furong." Lin Fong shrieked, shooting up from the bed. "Lin Fong." Shangguan Furong was taken aback. Just then, She noticed clothes strewn all over the floor. Weren't these Zhao Shun's clothes? How come Zhao Shun's clothes are here? Shangguan Furong narrowed her eyes, a sense of dread creeping into her heart. Lin Feng, what are you doing in my house? Lin Feng turned pale immediately. She got off the bed, went over to Shangguan Furong and knelt down. Sister Furong, I'm sorry. It's all my fault, I'm to blame. Shun had nothing to do with this, blame me, not him. Lin Feng took all the blame onto herself. Shangguan Furong's face grew paler by the second. She pointed at the bed. Who's in the bed? Lin Feng remained silent. Who is it? Shangguan Furong's voice was near trembling. She grabbed Lin Feng's shoulders. Who is it? Through her tears, Lin Feng replied, Sister Furong, I'm sorry. Yell at me, hit me, anything you want. Is it Zhao Shun? Lin Feng nodded. Shangguan Furong was livid. She could never have imagined that something like this would happen to her. Lin Feng dared to seduce Zhao Shun behind her back. And she thought Lin Feng was a trusted friend. This is how Lin Feng repays her trust and friendship. Slut. Shangguan Furong slapped Lin Feng hard. You slut, I'll kill you. Lin Feng took the hits without fighting back. Sister Furong, kill me if you want to. Just please don't take it out on Shun. The last sentence stirred a protective instinct in Zhao Shun. He shouldn't let Lin Feng take all the blame. He's a man. He should be the one protecting Lin Feng. He couldn't be a coward anymore. Zhao Shun pushed off the covers, walked up to Shangguan Furong, grabbed her hand and slapped her hard. You're the real slut. I want a divorce. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 699. It's too late for regrets. _1 With the slap, Shangguan Furong's face immediately swelled up. She looked at Zhao Shun, disbelief written all over her face. He had hit her. Zhao Shun had actually hit her. During their marriage of over a decade, there was not a single time when Zhao Shun had ever raised his voice at her, let alone raise his hand. Was she dreaming? Shangguan Furong stood there, unable to believe what was happening right in front of her eyes. Lin Feng looked at Shangguan Furong, a derisive expression on her face hidden well enough. She stood between Shangguan Furong and Zhao Shun. Brother Shun, you can't divorce Sister Furong, all the faults are mine. I let Sister Furong down. It's right that she hit me. Lin Feng's position was very humble. On the surface, she was taking all the blame upon herself. Yet, in reality, she was subtly shifting the blame onto Shangguan Furong. Compared to Lin Feng's empathy, Shangguan Furong's domineering attitude made Zhao Shun opt for her. This has nothing to do with you. Zhao Shun pulled Lin Feng to her feet. Don't worry, I will divorce her and then marry you. What did you say? Shangguan Furong looked up at Zhao Shun. I said I want a divorce. Zhao Shun said angrily. I've had enough of you, Shangguan Furong. Yes. He's had enough of Shangguan Furong. For all these years, he has listened to Shangguan Furong's decisions. And what has she done? She hasn't been a dutiful daughter-in-law towards her parents-in-law, nor has she attended to the needs of their children. She's been taking his sincerity for granted. No. I want divorce. Zhao Shun, you can't divorce me. Shangguan Furong stood up from the ground and tightly grasped Zhao Shun's arm. She couldn't bear to get a divorce. If she were to get divorced, how would others perceive her? Everyone knows about her powerful status in the Zhao family. Even the old lady Zhao had to consider her opinion at all times. If people found out that Zhao Shun wanted to divorce her for a vixen, how could she live? Zhao Shun looked coldly at Shangguan Furong. Shangguan Furong, this marriage must end. I can't put up with you anymore. For 19 years, think about what you have contributed to this family. Now that things had come to this point, he no longer wanted to hide his relationship with Lin Feng. The time he spent with Lin Feng was joyous, which he had never experienced before. If Lin Feng became the matriarch of the Zhao family, she would undoubtedly outperform Shangguan Furong. Prostitute! Overwhelmed with anger, Shangguan Furong pushed Lin Feng to the ground and started beating her. It's all because of you, you slut. Why won't you just die? Lin Feng didn't retaliate. She just wept and said, I'm sorry, Sister Furong. Get out of here. Zhao Shen couldn't bear to see Lin Feng being bullied by Shangguan Furong. He shielded Lin Feng behind him and swatted away Shangguan Furong. I don't want to see you anymore. Zhao Shen. Shangguan Furong had never been so humiliated. She had never dreamt that Zhao Shen would betray her. Nor did she expect the old lady Shangguan's words to come true. No. She can't get a divorce. Even if it killed her, she couldn't let Lin Feng benefit. Zhao Shen, I beg you, don't divorce me, okay? Shangguan Furong went over and embraced Zhao Shen. I know I was wrong, I will change, can you please forgive me? Get out. Zhao Shen ruthlessly pushed Shangguan Furong away. The gentleness was gone from his face. He seemed just like a stranger, cold and indifferent. Thrust away by Zhao Shen with such sudden force, Shangguan Furong fell to the ground. The pain was such that she could hardly breathe. She was in great pain. She truly was in great pain. She couldn't understand. How did she and Zhao Shen get to this point? When her gaze turned towards Lin Feng's self-satisfied face, Shangguan Furong's eyes filled with intense hatred. She grabbed a vase nearby and furiously rushed towards Lin Feng. Slut! I will kill you! It was at this moment when she finally realized. From the beginning, Lin Feng had bad intentions. This slut. It was all intentional. Lin Feng's face turned pale and she stepped back, hiding behind Zhao Shen. Zhao Shen raised his hand and held Shangguan Furong's wrist forcefully, warning. Shangguan Furong, I warn you. If you dare harm Lin Feng, I'll make sure you suffer a horrible death. In the past, it was Zhao Shen who gave way to Shangguan Furong. If he truly retaliated, could Shangguan Furong, a mere woman, ever match him? When a man loves you, he can cherish you as a gem. But once he falls out of love, you are worth less than grass to him. Shangguan Furong looked at Zhao Shen. The man felt like a stranger to her now. The pain in her heart was unbearable. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 700. It's too late for regrets _2. Get out. Get out of my sight now. Zhao Shen dragged Shangguan Furong to the front door and slammed it shut. Shangguan Furong collapsed on the ground, her face streaming with tears. Inside the room, Lin Feng spoke nervously. Shen, are we being too harsh on Sister Furong? After all, I'm the one at fault here. I'm the one who did her wrong, Zhao Shen sighed. Lin Feng, you're just too kind-hearted, always taking the blame for everything. This is not your fault. You've done nothing wrong to Shangguan Furong. Don't worry, I'll make sure to explain everything to you. With that said, Zhao Shen took out clothes from the wardrobe and handed them to Lin Feng. Lin Feng accepted the clothes and went to the bathroom to change. When the two of them came out dressed up, Shangguan Furong was still there. She sat on the living room sofa, her expression a mix of desolation, sadness, and perhaps regret. After being married to her for so many years, Zhao Shen looked at Lin Feng with guilt stirring in the depths of his eyes. If he didn't love Lin Feng, he wouldn't have indulged her all these years. Zhao Shen's changing expression didn't escape Lin Feng's observant eyes. Shen, I'll leave you to talk to Sister Furong. I don't want to interrupt you, Lin Feng continued. You've been husband and wife for many years. Don't allow me to destroy your harmony. Bang! Just then, a vase shattered at Lin Feng's feet, scattering pieces everywhere. Get out! Shangguan Furong pointed at the door. Out! Now! Shangguan Furong, get a hold of yourself. Zhao Shen's rage was ignited in that moment. The one who should be leaving is you. Shen, don't be like this. Lin Feng deliberately stoked the flames. Shangguan Furong grabbed her purse from the coffee table and stood up. Zhao Shen, don't push me too far. Pushing you too far? Zhao Shen corner of his mouth curled up in mockery. Shangguan Furong, those words should be directed at you, not me. Shangguan Furong did her best to suppress the raging emotions inside her, trying not to cry. Get rid of this cheap woman as quickly as possible. I will never divorce you. If you don't have any shame, I, Shangguan Furong, still do. Having said her piece, Shangguan Furong picked up her purse and left. The driver outside hasn't left yet. Shangguan Furong got into the car. Take me home. The driver noticed that Shangguan Furong seemed a bit off, but he didn't ask any further. He started the engine and drove away from there. Inside the villa, Xiaoshen looked at Lin Feng. "I'll drive you home first." "Okay," Lin Feng nodded. The ride was silent. When they reached the base of Lin Feng's apartment building, she said, "Shen, you're not really thinking of divorcing Sister Furong, are you?" Xiaoshen gripped the steering wheel. "It's come to this point. Divorce would be the best outcome for both of us." "I'm sorry," Lin Feng gripped Xiaoshen's hand. "Shen, I'm sorry. Sister Furong and I are good friends. I really didn't think things would turn out this way. I was content with just being with you, without a title. But I didn't expect Sister Furong to find out so soon. Maybe we should just end it, and you can go back to living a good life with Sister Furong. Though Sister Furong has a bit of a temper, she's not a bad person. You are a married couple after all." Lin Feng is retreating in order to advance. The more noble and kind-hearted she appears, the more she could expose the shortcomings of Shangguan Furong. The weaker she is, the more sympathy she will get. Zhao Shen, who had been wavering, now became even more determined. "Lin Feng, don't worry, I will take responsibility for you." Zhao family. The car had been parked in front of the villa for quite a while now. Yet Shangguan Furong was reluctant to get out. The driver sat in the driver's seat, not daring to say anything. Lady Zhao today seemed a bit strange. Normally at this time, she would be out playing mahjong, but not only is she not out today, she's actually returned home. Did something upset her? Zhao's mother stood on the balcony of the 5th floor, looking at the black car parked below. A faint light glittered in the depths of her otherwise dull eyes. After a moment, she looked up at the sky. Shangguan Furong turned her gaze to her reflection in the car window. She always thought she was a winner in life. Married to her husband for 19 years. Gifted with a pair of lovely children, a kind mother-in-law, and a husband who always followed her advice. But only now she realized just how thoroughly she had lost in life. Otherwise, she wouldn't be left without anyone to talk to when something goes wrong. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 701. It's too late for regrets. 3. She wanted to go back and pour her grievances to Madame Shangguan. But the words she had once argued with Madame Shangguan were still ringing in her ears. She wanted to go and seek help from the misses. But those young misses who had been so envious and jealous of her for her ability to manage her husband would surely laugh at her if she went there for pity now. All this bitterness, she could only hold in her heart. It was at this time that Shangguan Furong sadly discovered that after all these years, she didn't even have someone to talk to by her side. How ridiculous. Ridiculous. She laughed, and the reflection in the car window laughed with her. After a while, Shangguan Furong finally got out of the car and started walking toward the villa. The servants in the house were surprised when they saw Shangguan Furong. The sun must have risen from the west today. The lady of the house is actually home at this time. Where are Zijuan and Ziqing? Shangguan Furong asked the servants. At this time, the first thing she thought of were her children. She was trying to find some comfort from them. Madam, young master and young miss are doing their homework in the study room. The servant looked up at Shangguan Furong and noticed her swollen face. Was she hit by someone? Who did this? The Shangguan family? It couldn't be the Zhao family. After all, Shangguan Furong was revered like a deity in the Zhao family. Who would dare to provoke her? I see. Shangguan Furong nodded her head and went toward the study room. The study room was on the 4th floor, and the door was closed. She could faintly hear the conversation going on inside. Brother, when do you think Auntie Lin Feng can come? This was Zhao Ziqing's voice. I don't know. This was Zhao Zijin's voice. Zhao Ziqing put down her pen and looked out the window. I want to eat the dumplings Auntie Lin Feng made. Brother, do you want some? No. Zhao Zijuan answered. Zhao Ziqing laughed. Brother, you're lying. Every time Auntie Lin Feng brings dumplings, you eat the most. And now you say you don't want any. Zhao Zijuan didn't say anything. Zhao Ziqing continued. Brother, do you like Auntie Lin Feng? A child's concept of like is very simple. Whoever treats her well, she will like them. Although Lin Feng had ulterior motives in getting close to them, she at least took some action. Compared to Shangguan Furong, who neglected them after giving birth, she found it easier to accept Lin Fong. Zhao Ziqing added, I really like Auntie Lin Fong. Last time, Auntie Lin Fong even helped me review my homework. I wish Auntie Lin Fong was our mother. Upon hearing this, Shangguan Furong couldn't hold back her sorrow any longer. She started crying heavily. Her tears fell like pearls off a broken string. Don't talk nonsense. Zhao Zijuan, being older, was more composed. We have a mother. But she doesn't like us, and I don't like her either. Zhao Ziqing complained. I want Auntie Lin Fong to be my mother. Zhao Zijuan sighed and passed the pen to Zhao Ziqing. Finish your homework. Just then, the door to the study room was suddenly pushed open. Bang! The twins, who were doing their assignments, were startled. They stood up, looked at Shangguan Furong in bewilderment. Shangguan Furong was crying heavily, her face twisted in pain. What were you two just saying? I am your mother. Only I am. That Lin Fong. She is just a shameless bitch. It was I who carried you for 9 months. It was I who gave birth to the two of you after so much pain. You two ungrateful brats. Do you even have a conscience left? Shangguan Furong's voice grew louder with each word, tearing the books on the table into shreds, smashing all the decorations on the floor, behaving like a madwoman. At that moment, she felt a deep sense of desolation hitting at her heart. Nobody could possibly understand how it feels when the child she had carried for 10 months, and then given birth to, recognized someone else as her mother. Why? Why were they treating her like this? The two siblings were terrified by Shangguan Furong's current state, staying motionless in shock. Their sobs were incessant. Especially Zhao Ziqing, her face had even turned white with fear. Ziqing, don't be afraid. Brother will protect you. Zhao Zijuan pulled Zhao Ziqing behind him. Despite the shivers that racked his small body, he choked out. Mom, we're sorry, we were wrong. Please don't be angry. Bad mother. I don't want you. I want Auntie Lin Fong. Daddy, help. Grandma, help. Auntie Lin Fong. Zhao Ziqing started bawling. Panic-stricken, Zhao Zijuan hurriedly covered Ziqing's mouth. What did you just say? What were you saying? Shangguan Furong grabbed Ziqing, seething with rage. I am your mother. Only I am. Lin Fong is a slut. She's a whore. She's shameless. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 702. It's too late for regrets _4. Whimper. Zhao Ziqing covered her mouth and cried loudly. Mother, let go of my sister. Zhao Zijuan walked over to pull Zhao Ziqing away. Brother, get out of my way. Shangguan Furong swung her hand, sending Zhao Zijuan flying into the corner of a table. His forehead was instantly covered in blood. Shangguan Furong, what are you doing? An old voice suddenly emerged in the air. Brother. Zhao Ziqing pulled herself free from Shangguan Furong's grasp and ran to Zhao Zijuan's side. Old Lady Zhao pounded her walking stick on the ground. Even a tiger doesn't eat its own cubs. Look at what you've done. Only then did Shangguan Furong notice the injured Zhao Zijuan. Ah! She cried out in agony and collapsed onto the ground. How had her life come to this? Grandma, it doesn't hurt. Please don't blame my mother. Zhao Zijuan walked up to Old Lady Zhao and glanced back at Shangguan Furong. Old Lady Zhao closed her eyes. The child was a good boy. It's a shame he had the wrong mother. Come, Zijuan, let Grandma take you to get your wound cleaned. Old Lady Zhao held Zhao Zijuan's hand. What about mother? Zhao Zijuan looked back at Shangguan Furong, who was laying on the ground. At this moment, Shangguan Furong seemed like a madwoman. Her eyes were filled with despair, devoid of any signs of life. Anger clouded Old Lady Zhao's face. Don't worry about her. No matter what, Shangguan Furong shouldn't have taken her anger out on the children. She had already proven herself as an unfit mother in the first half of her life, and yet, in the second half, she continued to harm her children. As for this matter, Old Lady Zhao had initially intended to simply give Shangguan Furong a warning. She wanted Shangguan Furong to understand that the Zhao family didn't rely on her. Yet she never expected that Shangguan Furong would show no signs of remorse. Zhao Ziqing also felt some fear towards the Shangguan Furong from earlier, and held on to old lady Zhao's hand tightly. Right. Let's not care about her. The Zhao family had a family doctor. After examining him, the doctor frowned. The wound is quite deep, stitches are needed, and it might leave a scar. Remember not to eat any cold or spicy food for a while. A scar. Old lady Zhao became anxious. Dr. Wu, is there any way to prevent scarring? The injury was on Zhao Zijin's forehead. A scar would disfigure him. Dr. Wu shook his head. There's no medicine that can prevent scarring, but luckily the wound isn't big and a scar won't ruin his appearance too much. You don't need to worry. Grandma, I'm okay. Please don't blame my mother. Zhao Zijuan tugged on old lady Zhao's sleeve. Old lady Zhao sighed. Zhaoshen didn't come home until late. Old lady Zhao was sitting at the dining table. The food on it had gone cold. Mother, you haven't eaten? It's late, you don't need to wait for me. Zhaoshen put down his briefcase. Old lady Zhao glanced at Zhaoshen. Sit. Okay. Zhaoshen nodded, pulling out a chair and sitting down. Old lady Zhao took a bite of the cold food. How do you plan to handle the situation with Lin Fong? Zhaoshen said. I want a divorce from Shangguan Furong and to marry Lin Fong. After an afternoon's consideration, Zhaoshen felt that he could not wrong Lin Fong. Just because Lin Fong was kind didn't mean she deserved to be bullied. Are you sure? Old lady Zhao looked up at Zhaoshen. Zhaoshen was very determined. Yes, I've decided. Lin Fong is kind and dignified. I want to be with her. Before old lady Zhao could respond, a disheveled Shangguan Furong walked over from the other side. I don't agree. I want divorce you. If you want a divorce, it'll happen over my dead body. Otherwise, she wasn't stepping aside for that wretch of a woman. That wretch thought she could replace her and marry Zhaoshen? That would never happen. In just a few hours, Shangguan Furong seemed to have aged more than a decade. Her eyes were swollen and red, and her face was without a trace of color. Compared to Zhaoshen, it was as though nothing had happened to him. This was the disparity between men and women. Furong, our relationship has already come to this. What's the point of not divorcing? I don't care, I'll never divorce you. Having said that, Shangguan Furong turned and made for the stairs. Old lady Zhao sighed. After all, she is the mother of the two kids. The family splitting up was not the result old lady Zhao hoped for. This marriage cannot continue. Zhaoshen's attitude was very firm. I cannot let Lin Fong suffer. Shangguan Furong, unwilling to divorce, locked herself in her room for days and wouldn't speak to anyone. Ever since the situation had come to light, Zhaoshen had become increasingly brazen, often bringing Lin Fong to the Zhao family villa, and would occasionally spend the night. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 703. It's too late for regrets. 5. Lin Fong was very good at making children happy. She often made Zhao Ziqing burst into laughter. Shangguan Furong stood on the third floor watching everything downstairs, her gaze icy cold, as tears fell one after another. That was her child, the flesh of her womb that she carried for 10 months. By what right did this despicable woman steal her away? Mom, sister is young and doesn't know better, don't blame her. A pair of small hands grasped Shangguan Furong's hand. Zhao Zijuan was only 10 years old. He didn't know how to comfort Shangguan Furong. Shangguan Furong coldly flung Zhao Zijin's hand away. Get lost. I'm not your mom. Aren't you all just wishing for me to die sooner, to make way for that woman? Let me tell you, I won't let you have your wish. Never. Shangguan Furong clenched her hand tightly, turned and walked into the bedroom, slamming the door with a bang. Mom! Zhao Zijuan choked on the word mom, sobbing without a sound. He didn't know what to do downstairs. Lin Fong looked at the closed bedroom door and hooked up the corner of her mouth in a victorious smile. A few months ago, Shangguan Furong was as proud as a peacock, and now? Just a few days? How the tables have turned. It's her turn to be the lady of the house. Ziqing, do you like auntie? Lin Fong squatted down and looked at Zhao Ziqing. Yes. Zhao Ziqing nodded her head. Lin Fong continued. Would it be okay if Auntie becomes your mom? Yes. I would love Auntie to be my mom. Zhao Ziqing nodded her head excitedly. Ziqing, don't talk nonsense. Zhao Zijuan came over and grabbed Zhao Ziqing's hand. Zhao Ziqing broke free from Zhao Zijin's grip, wrapped her arms around Lin Fang's waist. I really like Auntie Lin Fang. Zhao Zijuan burst into tears. You're making Mom very upset. You're not my sister. I don't have a sister like you. He was after all just a 10-year-old child, and at this moment, other than crying, he had no other way to cope. Zhao Ziqing was frightened by this. She hurriedly went over to Zhao Zijuan. Brother, don't be angry. I won't have Auntie Lin Fang be my mom anymore. The moment Lin Fang heard these words, her face turned ashen. Those two ungrateful brats. She had fed them for so long for nothing. After all, they were not as good as her own. She needed to find a way to marry Zhaoshan sooner, move to the Zhao family's house, then figure out how to make Changyu change her surname to Zhao, and enter the Zhao family's genealogy, and then get rid of these two little beasts. Lin Fang narrowed her eyes. The 24th of the lunar December was the eve of the Lunar New Year. Shangguan Furong unusually appeared in the Zhao family living room, dressed up beautifully, and even made breakfast. Old Madame Zhao looked at her in surprise. Furong you, Shangguan Furong smiled and said, Mom, I've come to my senses, am willing to divorce Zhaoshan. She wore a thick layer of makeup on her face, cleverly concealing her dark circles and fatigue. For a moment, that glamorous Shangguan Furong seemed to have returned. Being a daughter-in-law for many years, old Madame Zhao found it difficult to let go. Actually, there's absolutely no need for you two to reach this point. Shangguan Furong didn't respond to old Madame Zhao's words, but continued, but I still want to spend my last Lunar New Year with the Zhao family. After the New Year, I will set Zhaoshan free, and also, please don't tell my mom and my brother about this. I want them to have a good Lunar New Year. Old Madame Zhao sighed. Furong, have you really made up your mind? Shangguan Furong nodded her head. Zhaoshan was standing at the door with Lin Fang. Hearing Shangguan Furong's composed words, he felt a little uneasy in his heart. Lin Fang was feeling extremely satisfied. Wonderful. Finally, Shangguan Furong agreed to the divorce. Soon she would become the lady of the Zhao family. At that moment, Shangguan Furong turned to look at Zhaoshan. Zhaoshan, I hope not to see this despicable woman in the final days of the year. Please make her disappear for a few days. After I leave, you are free to be with her for as long as you wish. But right now, I'm not dead. I still have a breath in me. Shangguan Furong maintained her composure throughout, so calm that it was frightening. Zhaoshan sighed, turned his head and looked at Lin Fang. Lin Fang feigned strength and raised a smile. Brother Shen, I'll leave first then. Zhaoshan couldn't bear to see kind-hearted Lin Fang feel aggrieved, and quickly ran after her. Outside the villa, Zhaoshan held Lin Fang's hand and said, Lin Fang, let's endure a little longer. After the New Year, I'll marry you. Lin Fang hugged Zhaoshan. Brother Shen, even if you don't marry me, it's okay. Being with you for such a long time, I've been very content. Hit a snake at its 7 inches. Lin Fang had now mastered where Zhaoshan's 7 inches was. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 704. It's too late for regrets. _6. Rest assured, I will definitely marry you. Zhaoshan promised. Lin Fang did not say much, she just said, then I'll go back first. I will come to find you after the New Year. Returning to the villa once again, the tranquility seemed to have returned. Shangguan Furong looked at Zhaoshan and said, before the divorce, I have one more condition. You say. He had been married to Shangguan Furong for many years, and he would satisfy whatever condition Shangguan Furong had. Shangguan Furong went on. Today is the 24th of the small year. My brother and sister-in-law must have returned home. I want you to accompany me back to my mother's house. We used to go back on this day every year. I don't want to cause any suspicion. All right. Zhaoshan nodded. Then I'll let Zijuan and Ziqing know. Shortly, the family of 4 arrived at the Shangguan residence by car. As Shangguan Furong had said, Anai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui were both at home. And their children were there too. The Shangguan residence was bustling. Auntie and uncle, you're here. Shangguan, she took the gift from Zhao Shun. Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing excitedly ran towards Yun Yun's sister. If it were in the past, Shangguan Furong would have been very unhappy. But today, Shangguan Furong was not only unhappy, but she was also smiling. Brother, sister-in-law. Shangguan Furong greeted Shangguan Dehui and Inai Tsuehua. Shangguan Dehui and Inai Tsuehua were both taken aback. Shangguan Furong had always made no secret of her dislike of Inai Tsuehua. But today, Shangguan Furong seemed like a different person. There was not a trace of scorn in her eyes. During these days, Shangguan Furong had thought about many things. She had been wrong in the past. She only cared about her own pride, without considering the feelings of others. She was also the one who had been too meddlesome, almost ruining the good marriage between Shangguan Dehui and Inai Tsuehua. Furong. Inai Tsuehua looked at Shangguan Furong in surprise. Shangguan Furong continued, Sister-in-law, this is the bird's nest and hazma that I brought especially for you. They are very nourishing for women. Thank you. Inai Tsuehua didn't know what to say for a moment. The old lady Shangguan looked at Shangguan Furong with a heartwarming expression in her eyes. Great! In her lifetime, she finally saw Shangguan Furong become sensible. Sister-in-law, I was immature in the past. Please don't hold it against me. The past is the past, Furong. Don't think too much about it. Inai Tsuehua comforted her. Looking at Inai Tsuehua, Shangguan Furong suddenly felt urged to cry. Inai Tsuehua was such a good person. But she had treated her that way in the past. She regretted it, truly regretted. Unfortunately, her realizations came too late. Shangguan Furong walked over to Inai Yang. Aunt. Inai Yang barely lifted her eyes. She could feel that Shangguan Furong had changed quite a bit. With a smile, Shangguan Furong said, Can you come with me for a while? Okay. Inai Yang nodded, following Shangguan Furong to the study on the second floor. As soon as they entered the study, Shangguan Furong bowed deeply to Inai Yang. Yang, I'm sorry. Aunt, don't do this, I'm the younger one. Inai Yang hurriedly helped Shangguan Furong up. Shangguan Furong went on to say, I know that a bow can hardly make up for the harm I've caused you, but now all I can do is apologize. She had done too many wrong things. No one is perfect and can avoid making mistakes, as the saying goes. Whatever happened has already passed, so let it be, continued Inai Yang. We must look forward in life. Shangguan Furong nodded in agreement. Yang, you're right, we should always look forward. Inai Yang sensed that something seemed off about Shangguan Furong today. Auntie, have you encountered any problems recently? No, Shangguan Furong shook her head and denied it with a laugh. At the Zhao family, everyone treats me with respect. What kind of problems could I possibly encounter? Her status within the Zhao family was evident to all. But Inai Yang continued, You seem a bit off today. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep, Shangguan Furong yawned. I've been staying up late playing mahjong with my lady friends. Please take care of your health, Auntie, Inai Yang said. MHM. Shangguan Furong nodded in response. Inai Yang went on. If anything bothers you, you may tell Grandma or us. Don't hold it all in by yourself. Smiling, Shangguan Furong responded. I will, Yang, thank you. Thank you for putting the past behind us. After lunch, the oldest Shangguan was taking care of little Inai Yin while Shangguan Shi and Inai Yang were outside building snowmen with the Zhao siblings, Zijuan and Ziqing. In December, a thick layer of snow covered the outdoors. Shangguan Furong and Zhao Shin were chatting with Shangguan Dahui and Inai Tsuehua. Shangguan Furong increasingly felt that the old lady Shangguan was right in their previous conversation. Inai Tsuehua was excellent indeed. She and Shangguan Dahui were equals, none superior to the other. How come she had never noticed before? Shangguan Furong suggested. We now have 4 people here, should we play some mahjong? Sure, good idea. Zhao Shin had no objections since he was accustomed to following Shangguan Furong's advice. This version of Shangguan Furong was indeed endearing. If Shangguan Furong had always been like this, they would not have arrived at the idea of divorce. Inai Tsuehua admitted somewhat awkwardly. I don't know how to play mahjong. Shall we ask Mom to join in? She spent any free time studying, leaving no time for mahjong. That's okay, I can teach you, offered Shangguan Dehui, who was next to her. Shangguan Furong smilingly added, Indeed, let my brother teach you. Enai Tsuehua was quick to learn. After one round with Shangguan Dehui, she knew how to play. Moreover, Enai Tsuehua had good luck and won several rounds in a row. Not until late at night did Shangguan Furong and Zhao Shen leave with the children. Shangguan Dehui and Enai Tsuehua saw them out. Brother, sister-in-law, please go back with the children soon. It's windy outside. Shangguan Furong waved them goodbye. Watching Shangguan Furong's retreating figure, Enai Tsuehua said, Dehui, don't you think Furong has changed a lot? Shangguan Dehui nodded. Indeed, she has changed quite a bit. It's a good change for Furong. Time flew by. Before they knew it, New Year's Eve had arrived. This year, Enai Yang was spending the new year with Enai Tsuehua at the Shangguan family home. They planned to bring the oldest Shangguan back to Jinghua village on the first day of the new year. The oldest Shangguan was extremely delighted since it had been a long time since they last had such a happy new year. At the dinner table, the oldest Shangguan gave everyone a hefty red envelope. Just after they finished their New Year's Eve dinner, and were about to go outside to set off fireworks, the phone rang. Today being New Year's Eve, the Shangguan family had given their servants a day off. Shangguan Shi rushed to answer the phone. Hello. Whatever the person on the other end of the phone said made Shangguan Zai's face turn pale. He rushed back into the living room without even hanging up the phone, panic written all over his face. Grandma, something has happened. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 705. Shocking change _1 in the living room. The elderly Madame Shangguan was holding fireworks, preparing to go outside and set them off with everyone else. Upon hearing the news, the fireworks in her hand dropped to the ground with a thud. What happened? Madame Shangguan asked. Shangguan Shi was crying, not knowing how to speak. From her youth to adulthood, she had never encountered such a situation. What on earth happened? Madame Shangguan's face turned pale with urgency. The more anxious she felt, the harder it was to talk. It felt like something was stuck in her throat. Sister Xiaoxi, don't panic, take your time. Enai Yang walked over to Shangguan Shi, holding her hand and comforting her in a low voice. There's an acupoint on the hand called the Laogong acupoint. When someone is highly stressed, lightly pressing the Laogong acupoint can relieve stress and calm the mind. The place that Enai Yang was pressing was exactly the Laogong acupoint. Gradually calming down, Shangguan Shi said, Grandma, Aunt had an accident. What happened to her? Old Madame Shangguan asked urgently. She's threatening to jump off a building with Zijuan and Ziqing. What? Shangguan Dehui and Enai Tsuehua happened to walk in from outside at that moment. Their smiles froze on their faces, as if their blood was running in reverse. Madame Shangguan couldn't catch her breath and almost fainted. Luckily, Enai Yang caught her in time. Quick. Let's get to Furong's house. The Shangguan family's home was only 5 minutes away from the Zhao family's, but for the people in the car, those 5 minutes felt longer than 50 minutes, 5 hours, even 5 years. Madame Shangguan cried. When I visited last time, I noticed that something was wrong with that child. She told me many things, told me to take care of my health, not to eat sweets, to take my heart medication on time. I should have realized it earlier. I should have. Madame Shangguan originally thought that Shangguan Furong was just maturing. She never dreamed that Shangguan Furong could do such a foolish thing. Mother, please calm down, Enai Tsuehua comforted. Furong will be okay. She will be, I am sure of it. Before long, the car stopped in front of the Zhao family's villa. The butler immediately came out to welcome them. Madam, sir, you're here. The mistress and master are upstairs. Please follow me. What on earth happened? Asked Shangguan Dehui, his face cold. Although Shangguan Furong was domineering and strong-willed, she would never seek death so easily, especially not with 2 children involved. The butler heaved a sigh. He was at a loss as to how to explain the situation to Shangguan Dehui. Please go up and try to reason with the madam. The young master and miss, they are innocent. They are still just children. Madame Shengguan had cried herself weak and collapsed helplessly into Nai Yang's arms. What sin have I committed that I am being punished by the heavens like this? The Zhao's villa was like a palace with 10 floors in total. Shengguan Furong and the 2 children were sitting on the open-air balcony on the top floor. Zhao Shun and old lady Zhao stood nearby. The elderly Mrs. Zhao tried to hold back her tears. Furong, take the children and come down. Let's talk things over. Don't do anything foolish, okay? Zhao Shun took a tentative step forward. Furong, come down. As long as you come down, I promise anything. We won't divorce. Is that all right? Don't come any closer. Shengguan Furong moved closer to the edge of the balcony with the children. Okay, I won't come closer. Just don't do anything rash. Don't be rash. Zhao Shun took a step back. He never thought things would come to this. He didn't imagine that when Shengguan Furong said she wanted a divorce after the new year, she meant to take their 2 children and die. After carrying a pregnancy for 10 months and giving birth, how could she bear to? How could she bear to choose death for the 2 children? Just then, Shengguan Furong looked towards the top floor exit. Her eyes lit up. Mom, brother, sister-in-law, you're here. Furong. Anai Tsuehua covered her mouth in terror. Furong. Furong. Madame Shengguan cried as she lunged forward. Furong, what are you doing? Mom, don't come over. Shengguan Furong moved back again with the children. There were no railings behind them. If they moved any further, she and the children would fall off. 40 meters from the 10th floor. If they were to fall, the consequences would be unimaginable. Grandma, stay calm and stay back. Anai Yang pulled Madame Shengguan back. Old lady Zhao saw the Shengguans had arrived, and as if seeing a lifeline pleaded. Elder sister, you're finally here. Help me reason with Furong. Don't let her do anything foolish. Zhao Shun said, Mom, brother, help me reason with Furong. As long as she doesn't do anything foolish, I can agree to anything she asks for. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 706, Shocking Change _2. Heh. Shengguan Furong cried with a laugh, crying crocodile tears. The Zhao family must be wishing me dead, so you could clear the way for that adulterous woman, right? These words carried a heavy burden of truth. The expressions on Zhao Shun and old lady Zhao's faces changed immediately. What exactly is going on? Old lady Shengguan looked at old lady Zhao and Zhao Shun. Old lady Zhao remained silent. Shame was written all over Zhao Shun's face. How could they even begin to explain? Right now, Shengguan Dehui had no interest in dealing with Zhao Shun and old lady Zhao. He was slowly moving towards the balcony, extending his hand towards Shengguan Furong. Furong, don't be afraid. Your brother is here. He'll handle this for you. Even if the sky fell down now, I would hold it up for you. Will you give your hand to your brother, please? Shengguan Furong hastily retreated. Brother, don't come any closer. If you do, I'll jump. All right, I'm not moving. Don't get agitated. Shengguan Dehui halted his steps and tried to speak in a light tone. Did Zhao Shun bully you? Tell your brother and he'll stand up for you. Shengguan Furong's face was streaked with tears. Brother, I'm sorry. I don't want to live anymore. Living has no meaning. Shengguan Dehui dared not upset her further, continuing. Furong, you are still young. Your best days are still ahead. You still have me and mother, and the 2 lovely children Zijuan and Ziqing. How could life have no meaning? If there are any issues, come down first and let's talk about it seriously. If you die, what about mother? Can you bear to let her suffer the heartbreak of burying her own child? Anyway, every man must die. Sooner or later it's all the same. When I die, brother, remember to comfort mother. She shouldn't have to grieve for an unfilial daughter like me. At these words, Shengguan Furong looked up at Zhao Shun. Zhao Shun, when I die, you'll be free. Are you happy now? I have been married into the Zhao family for 19 years, thinking I had a loving mother-in-law, a husband who always put me first, and 2 smart and lovely children. At this point, a sneer appeared at the corner of her mouth. And in the end, I have nothing. I am just a fool who has been used by others. A daughter-in-law could be replaced. A husband could remarry. The children could have a new mother. Her existence was negligible. Looking back at these 19 years, it was all like a puff of smoke that dissipated instantly. Shangguan Furong continued. I won't take anything that doesn't belong to me. But Zijuan and Ziqing are my flesh and blood. I must take them with me. They will never be left to you and that adulterous woman. The children are hers. She carried them for 10 months in her womb. Lin Fang is a wicked woman. If she leaves the children to her, they'd surely not have a good life. It's better to take them along. That way, they can be together in the afterlife. It was then that Zhao Shen noticed the red wedding dress Shangguan Furong was wearing, the dress they wore on their wedding day 19 years ago. 19 years had passed, but the red dress was still brilliantly bright. Now everything had changed. Just as Shangguan Furong had said, she did not take a single thing from the Zhao family. It seemed she truly was determined to die and take the 2 children with her. Thinking about this, Zhao Shen's heart ached. No, Zhao Shen pleaded. Furong, I beg you. Zijuan and Ziqing are still young, they are innocent. It's me who failed you. Come down, we won't divorce, we will live happily together from now on. Get lost. Shangguan Furong's mood suddenly became explosive. Zhao Shen, do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Stop pretending in front of me. The children are mine. None of you can take them away from me. Furong, don't be rash. Shangguan Dehui walked up to Zhao Shen. Tell me everything from start to finish. From today onward, I won't let you face this alone. If it's truly the Zhao family who wronged you, I will tear their family apart to get you justice. The daughters of the Shangguan family, we would never let anyone take advantage of them. Hearing this, Zhao Shen felt a sudden dread. All these days had passed, he had even forgotten that Shangguan Furong had the support of the Shangguan family. When Shangguan Dehui was young, he was notorious for his recklessness. The color drained from old lady Zhao's face. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 707. Shocking Change _3. Brother. Suddenly, Shangguan Furong burst into tears. It's all my fault, I didn't listen to Mom. I let the wolves into our house by getting Zhao Shen involved with that bitch Lin Fang. It really was Lin Fang. The old lady Shangguan's face tightened. Zhao Shen. You bastard. Shangguan Dehui punched Zhao Shen directly. Zhao Shen's head swerved, fell to the ground. Shangguan Dehui didn't stop there. He grabbed Zhao Shen by the collar, pinned him against the wall, and continued to beat him. Zhao Shen was no match for the robust Shangguan Dehui. In an instant his face swelled and his vision blurred with stars. Old lady Zhao panicked. Stop. Stop. Spare him, uncle. If you keep going, you might kill him. Shangguan Dehui pushed old lady Zhao away. His life matters, but my sister's doesn't? If anything happens to my sister today, I'll make him pay with his life. Old lady Zhao began crying in a panic, looking from Shangguan Furong to Zhao Shen. Finally, she clutched at the sleeve of the old lady Shangguan. Sister, please tell uncle to stop. An eye for an eye. You're worried about your son, but what about my daughter? Who's concerned about her? Old lady Shangguan looked at Shangguan Furong with teary eyes. Furong, come down please, don't do anything foolish. How will I live if something happens to you? Mom, I'm sorry, I really can't go on living. She couldn't go on. Once, everyone knew Shangguan Furong had married into a good household. She was held in the highest regard. Now she was just a joke. She couldn't bear the judgmental stares of others. She couldn't bear the sudden betrayal of Zhao Shen. She couldn't stand Lin Fang taking over her place. Death seemed to be the only way out. She would be free with death. At this moment, an Ai Yang entered the scene. Aunt, no obstacle in life is insurmountable. Please come down. Don't make Grandma worry. Look, isn't my dad taking revenge for you right now? Yang, you don't understand. Shangguan Furong shook her head. An Ai Yang pressed on. Auntie, do you think death is freeing? It's not. Death is merely the beginning of pain. From what I've heard from some elders, people who commit suicide bear enormous sins. Not only will they not be reincarnated, but their souls will also replay their suicide, enduring the pain time and again, indefinitely. When a person is teetering on the edge of death, they may wonder if there is a heaven or hell in this world. Enai Yang's absurd words roused Shangguan Furong's attention. Enai Yang carefully observed Shangguan Furong's expression while saying, "Aunt, Zijuan and Ziqing are just children, unaware of the world. Can you bear to see them endure such pain?" Shangguan Furong replied, "It's me they will die with. If God must punish someone, let him punish me. The children have nothing to do with this." Enai Yang continued, "But you are their mother, your wish represents theirs as well. God won't spare them just because they are children." Shangguan Furong fell silent for a moment, holding the children closer to her. She was starting to waver. At that moment, Enai Yang spoke again. "Aunt, don't you want to get revenge?" "Revenge?" Shangguan Furong looked at Enai Yang. "Revenge for what?" Enai Yang said, "Think about who did this to you. It was Lin Fong. That bitch Lin Fong." Shangguan Furong yelled, "So you must keep living. Only by living can you take revenge." Enai Yang continued, "Death is like a flickering lamp, extinguished in an instant. In the beginning, the Zhao family may feel guilty, but as time passes, they will forget you. Then Zhao Shen will marry Lin Fong. As for the children, they are young, they can have more. At that point, who will remember you? Who will remember Zijuan or Ziqing?" Enai Yang's words penetrated to the core, each syllable a tearful plea. The color drained from Shangguan Furong's face. Seeing her wavering, Enai Yang seized the opportunity, continuing, "Aunt, while you're here crying your heart out, planning to jump with Zijuan and Ziqing, Lin Fong might be at home feasting and celebrating. Why should we let ourselves suffer and make it easier for others?" "Yang, is what you're saying true?" Shangguan Furong asked. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 708. Shocking Change _4. Enai Yang nodded. "Of course it's true. Lin Fong, as the third party, definitely wants you dead. Only when you're dead can she usurp your place with a clear conscience." At this point, Enai Yang paused, then added, "Auntie, get a divorce. Times are different now. You can still live well after a divorce. Look at my mother, look at Sister Pingping, look at Aunt and I. Which of them lives worse than women with families? You're knowledgeable, educated, and capable. In what way are you inferior to Lin Fong? Zhao Shen having an affair with Lin Fong is his lack of insight, his loss. You should live on, live beautifully, and make them regret it." As Enai Yang spoke, she began to walk towards Shangguan Furong. Shangguan Furong had already let her guard down. "But what about Zijuan and Ziqing? Will you leave them with the Zhao family?" "No. I won't agree. Zijuan and Ziqing are my flesh and blood." Shangguan Furong's emotions, which had only just calmed down, suddenly stirred up again. Enai Yang halted her steps, then said, "In this marriage, Zhao Shen is at fault. According to the marriage law, when one of the spouses cheats, the child is not awarded to the guilty party." "Really?" Shangguan Furong asked. "Really?" Enai Yang nodded. "Auntie, give your hand to me." Enai Yang carefully reached out to Shangguan Furong. Shangguan Furong handed Zhao Zijuan to Enai Yang. Just then, old Madame Zhao and Zhao Shen came over, intending to take away Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing. Shangguan Furong suddenly pulled the child back. "Don't come over. None of you come over." Shangguan Dahui and old Madame Shangguan immediately held back the two. Shangguan Dahui said, "Furong, rest assured, Mom and I are here. We'll help you keep an eye on them. We won't come over." Old Madame Zhao and Zhao Shen were very anxious. The children are of the Zhao family. How could they let Shangguan Furong take them away? But they were afraid of further upsetting Shangguan Furong. Upon seeing their hesitation, Shangguan Furong calmed down and handed Zhao Zijuan back again. Both Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing were so groggy from the sleeping pills they had been given. With a child in each arm, Enai Yang looked at Shangguan Furong. "Auntie, come down too, quickly come down." Shangguan Furong slowly rose from the balcony, her hair tousled by the cold wind. Behind her, countless fireworks were being set off. Such a sight might have signaled a happy family reunion. It was ironic indeed. A look of sadness hooked the corners of Shangguan Furong's mouth. She didn't want to go through all this either. She hadn't wanted it to come to this point. Auntie. And Na Yang was a little worried about her. Shoo, Shangguan Furong put her index finger to her lips, making a silence gesture. Don't speak. And Na Yang nodded obediently. Shangguan Furong then said, Yang move back. And Na Yang moved backwards, holding the children. Shangguan Shi and Anai Tsuehua immediately came over to take over the children. Old Madame Zhao and Zhao Shen wanted to take away the children, but were stopped by Anai Tsuehua. Get lost. You have no right to touch the children. Seeing Anai Tsuehua so fiercely protective of Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing, a look of relief flickered in Shangguan Furong's eyes. Family would always be family. Although she had originally treated Anai Tsuehua so poorly, Anai Tsuehua still stood by her side at this moment. Then she looked at Zhao Shen and old Madame Zhao. Once they found out the two children were safe, they didn't care about her at all. Furong, come down quickly. Old Madame Shangguan, seeing Shangguan Furong stand up again, could feel her heart squeeze painfully. Furong, come down, brother will take you home. I can't go back, brother. I'll still be your sister in my next life. With her last words, Shangguan Furong spread her arms, leaning backwards. Furong, auntie. Just then, Anai Yang, swift and nimble, rushed forward, grabbing Shangguan Furong's wrist. Due to the sudden force, Shangguan Furong was pulled along, her body hanging in midair as she managed to grab onto a protruding decoration on the edge of the balcony. The two of them hung in midair, creating a chilling spectacle. Yang, Anai Tsuehua, scared, collapsed on her knees. Shangguan Dehui reacted fastest, running over and grabbing Anai Yang's wrist. But his own strength was not enough to pull both of them up. He looked back at the others. Quick, come help. At that moment, hearing the news, Shangguan Su rushed in from the entrance. Dad! Quick, come and help. Shangguan Dihui's veins on his arm stood out as he strained. Source, web novel. Com. Updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 709. Shocking change _5. Shangguan Su ran over, taken aback, immediately started helping Shangguan Dahui pull the person up. Shangguan Furong, looking at Anai Yang who was desperately holding onto her wrist, gently closed her eyes. Yang, thank you. But I'm sorry. I can't endure such humiliation in my life. From the moment Zhao Shen cheated on her, she couldn't bear to live anymore. Her self-esteem wouldn't allow her to barely survive in this world. However, Anai Yang's words also made her realize in time that the child was innocent, and she shouldn't take the child with her. She felt assured to leave the child with Shangguan's elderly matriarch. Shangguan Furong slowly broke free of Anai Yang's hand, her body plummeting down like a kite with a broken string. Anai Yang turned pale. Aunt! Furong! Shangguan Dehui cried out in despair. The father and son hurriedly pulled Anai Yang up, and then ran downstairs in a rush. The lights downstairs were brightly lit. Quickly call 120. Quickly call 120. Zhao's elderly matriarch urgently ordered the servant. What? You guys didn't call 120 for help earlier? Shangguan Dehui grabbed Zhao Shen's collar. Under normal circumstances, they would call 120 for help first. Shangguan Dehui and the others had arrived in such a hurry that they hadn't noticed that the Zhao family hadn't called the police or dialed 120. Zhao Shen stammered. Brother, calm down because today, the Zhao family was a prominent and renowned family and wouldn't report such a shameful incident to the police. Alerting the police would mean making it public. It's New Year's Eve today. Isn't it inviting ridicule? Rich and influential families, who value their reputation the most, would rather cover it up than report it. Besides, at that time, Zhao Shen and Zhao's old lady didn't expect Shangguan Furong to actually jump off the building. They thought, as long as the Shangguan family came, Shangguan Furong would stop making a scene. They didn't expect she would still jump. To hell with staying calm. Shangguan Dehui punched Zhao Shen. If anything happens to Furong today, you won't live either. Shangguan Dehui, who had been good-natured for many years, cursed for the first time today. After he finished speaking, Shangguan Dehui ran out of the door. Shangguan Furong lay on the ground, a large pool of blood spreading on the ground, dyeing the thick snow red, absolutely horrifying. The air was filled with a heavy scent of blood. Shangguan's elderly matriarch didn't dare to move Shangguan Furong, afraid of inflicting secondary injuries, crying out, "Furong, my poor child! God! If you want to punish someone, punish me. Why do you have to torment my child?" Aunt Shangguan, she also knelt on the ground, crying. An Yang ran out from the inner room. "Make way." Seeing An Yang, everyone seemed to see hope and immediately made way for her. An Yang placed the first aid box on the ground. First checked Shangguan Furong's pupils, then put her hand on Shangguan Furong's wrist. In her downcast eyes, a faint glint flashed. They had thought that since Shangguan Furong had lost so much blood, it was mostly a bad outlook, but surprisingly, Shangguan Furong might have been lucky after all. Meanwhile, An Yang also let out a sigh of relief, opened the medical box, and started administering first aid to Shangguan Furong. Here Zhao's elderly matriarch whispered to Zhao Xin, "Xinbao, I think the Shangguan family won't let this go lightly this time. You should run first." "Mom, I'm not running." Zhao's elderly matriarch sighed. "Silly boy, if you don't run now, are you waiting for Shangguan Dehui to kill you?" Shangguan Dehui was a troublemaker in his youth. What can't he do? Zhao's elderly matriarch was genuinely scared now. Shangguan Dehui had just beaten Zhao Xin half to death, and now with Shangguan Furong, he definitely wouldn't let Zhao Xin go. Zhao Xin was her only son. She couldn't just stand by and watch Zhao Xin get into trouble. "If I run, what happens to you?" Zhao Xin looked at Zhao's elderly matriarch. Things have come to this pass, and he too was very afraid. No one born as a human doesn't cherish his life. And he knew Shangguan Dehui too well. He knew that Shangguan Dehui would definitely fight him to death. Zhao's elderly matriarch continued, "I'm already old. They wouldn't dare to do anything to me, an old lady. You run first. Wait until this blows over. Run fast. Leave from the back door. Yes, take more money." Zhao's elderly matriarch took out all the cash from her body and gave it to Zhao Xin, then took off her gold bracelets, gold necklace, gold earrings and other jewelry and stuffed them to Zhao Xin. "Xinbao, listen to your mom. Don't come back for a short time, and don't call me. While they're still there, hurry up and go. Don't look back." Source: Web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 710, Shocking Change _6. Zhao Xin took the items handed to him by old Mrs. Zhao. "Mom, I'll go first. Please take care of yourself at home." Old Mrs. Zhao nodded, her eyes full of tears. What kind of sin had she committed to let her family become like this? Old Mrs. Zhao wiped the tears from her face and warned the servants in a low voice, "Don't utter a word about what just happened." "Yes, madam," the servants nodded in response. Meanwhile, An Yang first bandaged Shangguan Furong's head wound, then took out 3 silver needles, and punctured them into 3 of Furong's main acupuncture points. He looked up to Shangguan Dehui. "Dad, did you call 120? "I did," replied Shangguan Dehui. "How is your aunt?" After asking this question, everything became quiet, even the crying stopped. An Yang said, "Don't worry, aunt is fine." "She's fine?" At this, old Mrs. Shangguan immediately questioned, Yang, you aren't lying, are you? Is your aunt really all right?" Her voice was choking with sobbing. "Grandma, I'm not lying. Aunt is really fine." An Yang held her hand. "But she lost so much blood and is still unconscious." An Yang paused before continuing. "Aunt is 2 months pregnant, but the child in her womb may not be saved. I have done some preliminary emergency measures. Now we are just waiting for 120. Old Mrs. Shangguan broke down crying. "It's good as long as she's fine. It's good as long as she's fine." Old Mrs. Zhao didn't dare to approach. She could only watch from afar, unable to hear clearly what they were saying. "Amit Ba Buddha, please bless Shangguan Furong to be safe. Otherwise our Xinbao will be ruined," Mrs. Zhao prayed, hands clasped. Soon, the sound of the 120 ambulance echoed in the air. Everyone followed the ambulance to the hospital. A crowd of people waited outside the operating room. After a while, The light in the operating room went off. Old Mrs. Shangguan and Shangguan Dehui immediately approached. "Doctor, how is my sister, daughter?" The doctor removed his mask and smiled. "Fortunately, you did first aid before sending her to the hospital. The patient is now in very good condition, and there is no life-threatening danger. However, the baby could not be saved. Also, her lower leg is fractured and needs to stay in the hospital for a while. It doesn't matter the child is not saved, as long as the person is fine. As long as the person is fine." Hearing the doctor's words, old Mrs. Shangguan showed a little smile. "Thank you, Yang Yang." Old Mrs. Shangguan walked over and embraced Enai Yang. If it were not for Enai Yang who caught Shangguan Furong and reduced half of the force of fall, Shangguan Furong might not have been so lucky tonight. Knowing that Shangguan Furong was okay, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Shangguan Dehui said, "Daya, take mom and the kids home. I can handle things here with Furong." Enai Tsuehua said, "You and mom go home. I'll stay here to take care of Furong. As a woman, whatever I do, it'll be more convenient than you." Old Mrs. Shangguan looked around and frowned. "Where is the Zhao family? How come no one came?" They initially thought that the Zhao family also followed them in the rush. Looking back now, not even a servant from the Zhao family was sent over. This was really outrageous. "I'm going to confront them." Shangguan Dehui undid his coat button. "I'm going to." Shangguan Su followed Shangguan Dehui. As a nephew on his mother's side, his aunt was being bullied. He couldn't stand by and do nothing. Otherwise, the Zhao family might really think there's no one left in the Shangguan family. "Dehui, Xiaoxiu, you two don't act rashly." Enai Tsuehua held the hands of both Shangguan Dehui and Shangguan Su. Old Mrs. Shangguan sighed. "Daya is right, you two shouldn't act impetuously. Our Shangguan family always acts logically. Right now, Furong is still in the hospital bed. Let's wait for her to wake up first." Shangguan Dehui was impulsive by nature. If he really caused a death, it would be messy. Upon hearing this, Shangguan Dehui and Shangguan Su had no choice but to stop in their tracks. Enai Tsuehua continued, "Dehui, you should quickly take them back home. It's late, and the children need to rest. They can come back to see Furong in the morning." Madame Shangguan said, "Daya, you go back. I will take care of Furong. I don't trust these kids with Zijuan and Ziqing." Such is the heart of every parent. Madame Shangguan was worried about Shangguan Furong. Only with her personal supervision would she be reassured. After some discussion, it was finally decided that Madame Shangguan would stay with Shangguan Furong, while the others would take Zijuan and Ziqing home to rest. After all the commotion, by the time they got home, it was already midnight. Shangguan Dehui and Enai Tsuehua went to the neighbors to pick up little Enai Yun. Shangguan, she lay on her bed, unable to sleep with the noises outside her window. She got up and knocked on Enai Yang's door. "Yang Yang." "Sister Xiaoxi." Enai Yang opened the door. "Yang Yang, I can't sleep. Can I chat with you?" Shangguan, she asked. "Sure." Enai Yang nodded. The two, dressed in matching pajamas, sat on the bed. "Yang Yang, do you think our aunt can get through this?" Enai Yang laughed. "From adversity comes blessing. Don't worry, your aunt will be fine." After this life and death tribulation, Shangguan Furong should finally realize the truth. Shangguan, she continued, "My uncle is so awful. He always seemed like such a good man. I can't believe he would betray my aunt. And with Lin Fong of all people. Grandma was right. Lin Fong is not a good woman at all. Thankfully, my father stopped her from marrying into our family in time." Enai Yang was slightly surprised. "You've known Lin Fong for a while now?" Shangguan, she nodded and didn't hide anything, explaining what happened. "Oh, I see." Enai Yang squinted. "From what you've said, Lin Fong indeed doesn't seem like good news." The two sisters chatted late into the night, but woke early the next morning. The aroma of food was already wafting from downstairs. Breakfast was prepared by Enai Tsuehua. "Everyone eat quickly. After breakfast, we're going to the hospital to see your aunt." Zhao Ziqing ate heartily, slurping the noodles noisily. Zhao Zijuan said uneasily, "Aunt, what happened to my mom?" They were asleep throughout the night, and had no idea what had transpired. Enai Tsuehua smiled. "Your mom is fine, she just wasn't feeling well. She's in the hospital right now. Well, go see her after breakfast. Is my mom really okay? Zhao Zijuan asked. She really is. Anai Tsuehua patted his head. Hurry and eat. Zhao Ziqing finished her meal before Zhao Zijuan and said to Anai Tsuehua, Aunt, I don't want to go to the hospital. Can I go home instead? Today is the first day of the new year, and Dad said he would take me to Aunt Lin Fang's house to pay a New Year visit. The smile on Anai Kuihua's face turned rigid. Shengguan Dehui banged his chopsticks on the table. Don't mention Lin Fang's name again. The air grew quiet. Zhao Ziqing was frightened into tears. All right, let's not scare the child during the holiday. Anai Tsuehua squatted down to comfort Zhao Ziqing. After breakfast, the family, carrying a thermos, went to the hospital to visit Shengguan Furong. When they arrived, Madame Shengguan was just coming out of the ward with a water bottle. Why are you here so early? Have you eaten yet? I was just about to get some hot water from the boiler room. Shengguan Dehui asked, Mother, has Furong woken up? She has. Madame Shengguan nodded. Shengguan Dehui glanced inside. Has anyone from the Zhao family arrived yet? Source, web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 711. Retribution _1 Lady Shengguan shook her head. From last night until now, no one from the Zhao family has shown their face. Hearing that, Shengguan Dehui's face was covered with a layer of anger. Anai Tsuehua took the water bottle from Lady Shengguan's hand. Mom, I'll go fetch water, you go in and eat. Lady Shengguan nodded. They all went into the ward together. Shengguan Furong was sitting at the head of the bed. Her pale face lacked any color. Zhao Zijuan rushed over instantly. Mom! Zijuan! Zhao Ziqing stood by the side. She didn't like her mother, because her mother never took care of her or looked after her. She liked her grandmother, her father, her brother, and Aunt Lin Fang. Mom, you are okay, right? Worry flickered in Zhao Zijuan's eyes. Mom is okay. Shengguan Furong shook her head. Shengguan Dehui sat on the sofa without saying a word. Anai Yang set the thermos on the coffee table and scooped out a bowl of chicken soup for Shengguan Furong. Auntie, drink soup. Thank you, Yang Yang. Zhao Zijuan took the chicken soup. Mom, let me feed you. All right, Shengguan Furong nodded. Zhao Zijuan carefully fed Shengguan Furong spoonfuls of chicken soup. The chicken soup contained Chinese medicine and tasted slightly bitter. As she drank, Shengguan Furong's eyes grew red. Only through a near-death experience did she come to realize. On this earth, nothing is as precious as life and familial love. The mood was slightly somber. After finishing the chicken soup, Shengguan Furong looked at Shengguan Dehui, who was sitting on the sofa. Brother, I'm sorry. Do you realize your mistake? Shengguan Dehui looked up. I do, Shengguan Furong nodded. I will live well from now on, and won't do anything foolish. Shengguan Dehui continued. Do you realize that it's not just Zhaoshen's fault, but you also made a mistake? Yes. Anai Yang stood up at the right moment. Brother, Sister Xiaoxi, let's take Zijuan and Ziqing out for a walk. It's too stuffy in here. The grudges and disputes amongst the adults didn't do well for the children to hear. It wasn't good for their growth. Okay. Shengguan Shi immediately responded. Shengguan Su carried little Anai Yun, while Anai Yang and Shengguan Shi, together with Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing, left the room. After the children left, the atmosphere in the ward became oppressive. Shengguan Dehui spoke silently. Your domineering, unreasonable behavior and extremism have not only harmed yourself, but also almost harmed the two kids. If it weren't for Yang Yang last night, had you jumped down with the two kids, do you know what the consequences would be? Lady Shengguan sighed. Shengguan Furong lowered her head, tears falling from her eyes. What Shengguan Dehui said was true. In this marriage, it wasn't just Zhaoshen's mistake, she also made mistakes. It was fortunate that last night she did not jump down with the two children. Otherwise, it would have been a grave mistake. Brother, I realize my mistake, I truly do. Shengguan Furong closed her eyes. Yang Yang was right. A woman doesn't necessarily need to spend her lifetime with a man. So, I have decided to divorce Xiaoshen. I don't want anything else, except the 2 children. This time, she truly let go. Shangguan Dehui sighed. It's good if you can think clearly. In a while, Enai Tsuehua walked in with the water bottle. The children also came in from outside. Having stayed in the hospital for so long, Zhao Ziqing was very bored. She looked up at Enai Tsuehua. Auntie, when can I go home? I miss my grandma, my dad. She originally wanted to add that she missed Aunt Lin Feng too, but when she saw Shangguan Dihui's face, she swallowed the rest of her words. Enai Tsuehua felt a bit awkward for a moment, not knowing how to answer Zhao Ziqing. According to Shangguan Furong's intention, these 2 siblings probably wouldn't be going back to the Zhao family. They were 2 pitiful children. Shangguan Furong beckoned to Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing. Zijuan, Ziqing, both of you come here. Mom. Zhao Zijuan pulled Zhao Ziqing's hand and walked over. Zijuan, Ziqing, Shangguan Furong held the hands of the 2 siblings. Mother wants to ask you, do you want to go home? Zhao Ziqing instantly nodded, yes. What about you, Zijuan? Shangguan Furong looked at Zhao Zijuan. Zhao Zijuan, being slightly older than Zhao Ziqing, was quite mature for his age. He hesitated. I want to go home with Mom. Shangguan Furong smiled. Mom can't go back. She could never go back. Why? Zhao Zijuan asked. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Invgo. Co if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 712. Retribution _2. Because your father is now with Aunt Lin Feng, Shangguan Furong replied calmly. Zhao Ziqing laughed and joined in. I really like Aunt Lin Feng. Shangguan Furong felt a sharp twist in her heart, but she maintained a smile on her face. Now I would give both of you a choice. Do you want to be with your mom or your dad? I want to be with Dad, Zhao Ziqing announced without hesitation. Zhao Zijuan hesitated for a moment. Mom, can I have both? Albeit young, Zhao Zijuan knew that once he chose one, he would lose the other. He wanted both his father and mother. No, you can't. Shangguan Furong shook her head. Then, Zhao Zijuan didn't know how to choose. He didn't want to hurt his mother, but he wanted to be with his father. The teacher once said that a mother is the greatest person in the world. Without his mother, there would be no him. It was his mother who gave him life. It was also his mother who risked her life to give birth to him. If he chose Dad, wouldn't Mom be very sad? But, if he chose his mother, what would happen to his father and grandmother? What should he do? Zhao Zijuan began to sob, and hastily wiped his eyes. The atmosphere instantly turned mournful. Both Madame Shangguan and Enai Tsuehua began to tear up. The most painful thing in this world is not death, but separation in life. Brother, don't cry, let's choose Dad. Zhao Ziqing tugged Zhao Zijuan's sleeve. Shangguan Furong reclined to the head of the bed and said with a light tone, Brother, please take them home. Furong, what about you? An alarmed Madame Shangguan exclaimed. Shangguan Furong shut her eyes. I respect the children's choice. She wasn't a qualified mother. She gave the children life but not the care and attention a mother should provide. This time, she wouldn't force the children to stay by her side. Shangguan Dehui nodded, stood up and said, Zijuan, Ziqing, let's go. Zhao Ziqing held Zhao Zijuan's hand and said cheerfully, Great, I can go home now. Brother, let's go. Watching her children gradually disappear from her sight, Shangguan Furong couldn't help but succumb to her tears, falling like broken beads. Just as they were about to step out of the room, Zhao Zijuan abruptly freed himself from Zhao Ziqing's hand, sprinted to Shangguan Furong, and wept. I want to be with Mom. I want to be with Mom. Mom, I'm not going. If both he and his sister left, then Mom would become all alone. He did not want to leave his mother alone. Zijuan. Shangguan Furong held Zhao Zijuan, sobbing uncontrollably. She did not anticipate that the one to stay with her in the end would be Zhao Zijuan. Nobody had expected Zhao Zijuan to suddenly run back. The atmosphere turned more oppressive and stifling. Brother, aren't you coming home with me? Zhao Ziqing tugged at Zhao Zijuan's sleeve. Ziqing, go home, I will stay with Mom. Zhao Zijuan wiped his tears, turned back to look at Shangguan Furong. Mom, can I still see Ziqing in the future? You can. Shangguan Furong nodded. Brother, Zhao Ziqing pulled at Zhao Zijian's sleeve. I want to be with you. Let's go home together. The bond between these two siblings was really strong. They grew up together and could never bear to part with one another. This sudden separation caused Zhao Ziqing to break down in tears. Ziqing, be good, don't cry. Zhao Zijuan choked back a sob and forced a smile. I'll visit you when Mom gets discharged. I don't want to be separated from you, brother. Zhao Ziqing held onto Zhao Zijuan tightly. Madame Shangguan also broke down in tears. Furong, is this divorce absolutely necessary? She was pained for the children. Once Lin Feng enters the Zhao family, it is predictable that Zhao Ziqing's days won't be pleasant. Both young siblings, one without a father, the other without a mother. The divorce is necessary. Shangguan Furong held back her tears. Madame Shangguan sighed. How tragic. To avoid prolonged pain, Shangguan Dehui swiftly picked up Zhao Ziqing and moved forward. Zhao Ziqing cried and struggled. Uncle, let me go. I want my brother. Brother. Zhao Zijuan watched Zhao Ziqing. Ziqing, you must listen to Dad and Grandmother at home. Brother. Zhao Ziqing's crying gradually faded in the distance. Zhao Zijuan wiped his tears, turned back to look at Shangguan Furong, and smiled. Mom, I'm okay. Good child. Good child. Madame Shangguan couldn't help but pulled Zhao Zijuan into her arms. Source, web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 713. Retribution_3. Shangguan Dehui drove all the way to bring Zhao Ziqing back to the Zhao family. After what happened last night, Shangguan Dehui couldn't face his own family. He was afraid of his impulse to hit Zhao Shen and crouched down to tell Ziqing. Ziqing, you should go in quick, your grandma and father are waiting for you inside. Zhao Ziqing's condition had stabilized a lot, but her eyes were still red. Uncle, aren't you coming in? Shangguan Dehui shook his head. Uncle has things to do, but he'll watch you from here until you go in. Zhao Ziqing said, Goodbye, Uncle. Goodbye. Shangguan Dehui watched Zhao Ziqing walk through the grand entrance, and then he drove away. As soon as Zhao Ziqing entered the house, the butler noticed her. The young lady is back. Madam, the young lady is back. Butler grandfather. Zhao Ziqing sniffled. Madame Zhao was reciting sutras in the Buddha hall when she heard the butler's call. She came running out from inside. Ziqing is back. Where is your brother, Ziqing? Brother is with Mom. Zhao Ziqing answered. Is your mother all right? Madame Zhao asked in surprise. Zhao Ziqing nodded her head. Madame Zhao continued. Where is your mother now? Mom is at the hospital. Zhao Ziqing replied. Upon learning that Shangguan Furong was all right, Madame Shangguan sighed in relief. Ba, thanks to the blessing of the Bodhisattva. It's good that she is all right. Who brought you home? Uncle brought me home, answered Zhao Ziqing. Grandma, brother doesn't want us anymore. I want brother. As she spoke, Zhao Ziqing began to cry. Madame Zhao was shocked. Ziqing, what happened? Through her sobs, Zhao Ziqing said. It was Mom. Mom made us choose between her and Dad. I chose Dad, brother chose Mom. Woo woo. I want brother. Madame Zhao's eyebrows knitted slightly, sensing an ominous premonition. Zhao Zijuan was their legitimate eldest grandson. How could he choose to stay with Shangguan Furong? This was definitely the doing of Shangguan family. Otherwise, why had they left Zhao Ziqing behind, and only kept Zhao Zijuan? After all, Zhao Zijuan was a boy. Ziqing, don't cry. Your brother will be back. You play around at home first. Grandma is going to make a trip to see your mom. Grandma, are you going to bring brother back? Yes. Madame Zhao nodded her head. She needed to see what was up with Shangguan Furong, while also testing the attitude of the Shangguan family. Zhao Shen couldn't keep hiding all the time. Madame Zhao called the driver and made a trip to the hospital. She also brought along many nutritional supplements. When knocking at the door, Madame Zhao was very nervous. Yes, the Zhao family had not handled the incident well. She was an old lady, so the Shengguan family wouldn't physically harm her, would they? The one who opened the door was Enai Tsuehua. Madame Zhao smiled. Aunt. Enai Tsuehua nodded. You're here. Carrying her nutritional supplements, Madame Zhao walked in. Furong, are you okay? You gave me quite a scare last night. On seeing Madame Zhao, Shengguan Furong was initially stunned. Then she shook her head. I'm okay now. That's good to hear. Madame Zhao turned her gaze to Madame Shengguan, her face full of guilt. Elder sister, our Zhao family has wronged you. As the wrong was not done by Madame Zhao, even if Madame Shengguan was angry, she wouldn't take it out on her. It's not your Zhao family that did us wrong. It's Furong who you've wronged. Yes, Furong could be a bit impulsive, but without Zhao Shun's indulgence over the years, could she have turned out this way? From the time of the incident last night to now, not a single person from your Zhao family has come over, not even a phone call. Doesn't human life mean anything to you? Furong might not be perfect, but she gave birth to 2 children for your Zhao family. Madame Shengguan's words were both factually and morally sound, so Madame Zhao found it difficult to refute. You're right, we didn't handle this incident appropriately. Enai Tsuehua brought over a chair. Please sit. Thank you, Aunt. Madame Zhao sat down as instructed. Soon Enai Yang came in with Zhao Zijuan. Seeing Madame Zhao, Zhao Zijuan ran over excitedly. Grandma. Zijuan. Madame Zhao patted Zhao Zijuan's head and asked with a smile. Zijuan, why didn't you come home with your sister? Zhao Zijuan shook his head. I want to stay and accompany Mom. Madame Zhao was stunned. She hadn't expected that Zhao Zijuan would voluntarily stay with Shengguan Furong. Source, web novel. Com, updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 714. Retribution_4. Upon hearing Zhao Ziking's recount, she had assumed that the Shengguan family was deliberately keeping Zhao Zijuan from coming home. After all, Zhao Zijuan, who she personally raised, had no reason to abandon her. What on earth was going on? Madame Zhao continued. But your sister misses you so much at home. Don't you want to play with her? Zhao Zijuan replied. Once Mom is better, she will take me to see my sister. Grandma, rest assured, even if I'm by Mom's side, you will always be my grandma and I will take good care of you when I grow up. Madame Zhao's eyes reddened. She turned to Shengguan Furong. Furong? My boy is still so young. How can you bear? Shengguan Furong changed the subject. Mom, where is Zhao Shen? Why haven't we seen him? True enough. Where was Zhao Shen? He was the father of the 2 siblings and technically, Shengguan Furong's husband. Today Madame Zhao could refrain from visiting the hospital, however, Zhao Shen must come. It was his responsibility as a father and a husband. It was a man's duty. Shengguan Dehui furrowed his brow. Madame Zhao seemed hesitant. He is feeling a bit under the weather, resting at home. Shengguan Furong was not suspicious, nodding her head. Then could you please tell him to come to the hospital once he feels better? I have something to discuss with him. What do you need to discuss with him? You can talk to me too, responded Madame Zhao. Just by looking at Shengguan Dehui's menacing face, one could tell his prejudices. Would Zhao Shen live to tell the tale if he showed up now? Shengguan Furong calmly said. About the divorce. Divorce? Madame Zhao's eyes dimmed for a moment. Furong, have you thought it through? Shengguan Furong nodded. And what about Zijuan? Madame Zhao continued. Zijuan will stay with me, said Shengguan Furong. Madame Zhao was startled. Why? Shengguan Furong replied. It's Zijuan's own decision. But Zijuan is the blood of our Zhao family. Madame Zhao's voice filled with excitement. Shengguan Furong calmly replied. Zijuan is also the child I carried in my womb for 10 months. She almost died of heavy bleeding during birth. This was the foreshadowing of future trouble. After the near tragedy of childbirth, Zhao Shen cherished her and did not let her lift a finger. He even hired a nanny for their child. But Madame Zhao, who dotes on her grandson, took care of the child herself. She was treasured by the Zhao family and could act as she pleased. It was thanks to Zhao Shen's love and care that she, disregarding her childbirth trauma, had another child for him 2 years later, fulfilling Zhao Shen's dream of having both a son and a daughter. And after that, their love remained strong as ever. Zhao Shen always listened to her, even suggesting they have more children, but peculiarly, aside from Zhao Zijuan and Zhao Ziqing, she had no more children over the years. Madame Zhao continued. Furong, you can't be so heartless. The Zhao family has only Zijuan. If you take him away, it's like taking my life. Shangguan Furong was still as calm as ever. Mom, Ziqing is also the blood of the Zhao family. It's not the same, it's not the same. How could a boy and a girl be the same? A boy represents the heritage of a family. A daughter's marry out like water poured out. Zhao Ziqing is going to marry sooner or later. Shangguan Furong continued. Mom, let Zhao Shen talk to me. At that time, I will let Zijuan and Ziqing decide again. If both of them choose Zhao Shen, I will not object. She won't force things. Are you serious? Madame Zhao was suspicious of the authenticity of the situation. She suspected Shangguan Furong was tricking her, luring Zhao Shen out. Seriously, Shangguan Furong nodded. Madame Zhao continued. But Zhao Shen is a bit indisposed right now. After last night's harsh beating, the doctor says he needs to recuperate for some time. Did Zhao Shen run away? Shangguan Dehui unexpectedly interjected. Madame Zhao was taken aback. How did Shangguan Dehui know Zhao Shen had run away? Shangguan Dehui smiled. Madam, please go back and pass my message to Zhao Shen. As a man, I despise him. He knew only to run when faced with a problem. Where was the dignity of a man? Madame Zhao said. Uncle, you misunderstood. Zhao Shen didn't run away, he is just seriously injured. The implication was that they, the Zhao family, had no intention to pursue Shangguan Dehui over this. Thus Shangguan Dehui had no reason not to be pleased. Source web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 715. Retribution _5. Now she was still inquiring about the whereabouts of Zhao Shen. Old lady, you should know about my temper. If I had really acted ruthlessly, he wouldn't have the strength to escape. Shangguan Dehui may have been angry last night, but he hadn't been harsh. Madame Shangguan stepped in at the right moment. All right, Ziqing's grandmother, Furong needs to rest now. You should go back. When Zhao Shen recovers from his injury, then come over. Evading certain matters just won't do. Issues that need to be resolved still have to be resolved. Old Madame Zhao got up from the chair. If that's the case, then I'll leave first. Zijuan, would you like to come home with your grandmother? No, Zhao Zijuan shook his head. Grandma, you go ahead first. Zijuan, your little sister has been crying at home. She says that if you don't go back, she won't stop crying. Old Madame Zhao continued. You're a good big brother. Can you bear to let Ziqing cry at home? Zhao Zijuan must not stay at the Shangguans. If the Shangguan family were to sow discord from within, bad-mouthing the Zhao family, and then Zhao Zijuan no longer recognized her as his grandmother, or Zhao Shen as his father, what should she do then? Children are like blank sheets of paper, they will do as adults tell them to. Zhao Zijuan is the eldest grandson of the Zhao family, she couldn't let outsiders corrupt him. Zhao Zijuan continued. My little sister is very obedient, as long as you console her a bit more, she won't cry. Grandma, you go back first. Zijuan, don't you want your grandma anymore? Old Madame Zhao's eyes suddenly reddened. I am your real grandmother, Zijuan. Don't you want your grandmother anymore? No, Grandma, it's not that I don't want you, I just want to stay with Mom. Grandma, you've always been my grandma. Zhao Zijuan became flustered. He didn't understand why it had come to this. Anai Yang came over and said, Grandma Zhao, since Zijuan doesn't want to go back with you right now, you should go first. Don't worry, nobody here will bully Zijuan. This is scaring him. Anai Yang's voice was light and gentle, pleasing to the ear. Old Madame Zhao sighed and finally let go of Zhao Zijuan. Then Grandma will go home first. Zhao Zijuan nodded. After old Madame Zhao left, Zhao Zijuan ran to Shangguan Furong. Mom, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I will stay here with you. Good. Shengguan Furong nodded. After old lady Zhao left the hospital, she felt uneasy no matter what. The longer Zhao Zijuan stayed at Shengguan's, the more likely he was to be brainwashed by the Shengguan family, and might end up not recognizing anyone. It seems she must quickly get in touch with Zhao Shen. After several transfers, old Madame Zhao finally met Zhao Shen in an inn. Lin Feng was also there. Mom, why are you here? Zhao Shen quickly put down his bowl and chopsticks. Since she had accepted Lin Feng as one of their own, old Madame Shengguan did not hesitate to tell them the whole story. Upon hearing this, Lin Feng could not hide her joy. Divorce. That's great. They were finally getting a divorce. Shenbao, Zijuan is our descendant of Zhao family. How can we just give him to the Shengguan family? Why don't you negotiate with Furong? Give Ziqing to her if it's okay. Anyway, we can't give Zijuan to her. As she spoke, old Madame Zhao started to cry. Lin Feng quickly said, Auntie is right. Zijuan carries the Zhao family's bloodline and heritage. We can't let the Shengguan family take him away. It's just a child. If he were to come back, it wouldn't pose any threat to her. She had her ways of dealing with children. Old Madame Zhao excitedly held Lin Feng's hand. Xiaolin understands me. Zhao Shen then asked, Is Furong okay now? Old Madame Zhao said, Good people don't live long, but the scourges last for 1,000 years. Rest assured she's fine. Zhao Shen breathed a sigh of relief. What about brother? Is he still angry? Old Madame Zhao frowned. Looking at Shengguan Dehui, I could tell he was still quite angry. How about this, you bring a few more people when you go. If he dares beat you, we won't be afraid of the Shengguan family. Things had come to this point, and they could only risk a chance. Now you pack up and come back with me, and we will discuss what we should do. Then we will pay a visit to the Shengguan family. All right. Zhao Shen nodded. Lin Feng returned to the Zhao family with them. The Zhao family was magnificent and luxurious. Comparing it to the Chang family was like comparing heaven and earth. Lin Feng felt extraordinarily pleased thinking about how she would soon become the mistress of this place. Source: Web Novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.